That time, same bat channel. Let's go.
Welcome to the afternoon rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every day. Neil and Sean, they're locked, they're loaded, they're ready to take the names as decided by you guys. So make sure to join Adair and I on the How to Trade Midday Show and get into that chat. Vote for your favorite tickers every day, and we'll have Neil and Sean cover it for you. Let's start off with the SPY. Yeah, we're marginally red, about 1/5% down. The NQ, kind of the same look, about 1/4% down, far outperforming the Russell, which was down 1 1/3%. The small caps really taking it on the chin today, but the Dow faring the best. It looks like about marginally here, flat 0.1. Last time I looked, a little bit below that 41,000 point level. First ticker as decided by you guys, Coinbase. Crypto moving up overnight above that $60,000 level again. And that was interesting. We had BT also report overnight. It was up in double digits, but Coinbase really taking a bit of a dive here. Brian Armstrong coming out and saying basically that what he's looking at as the main driver of revenue going forward for Coinbase is payments, guys.
Yeah, and you know, when the candle looks like it does on Bitcoin, you're probably going to have the kind of day that Coinbase had today. So this morning it was like, oh, we're back above 60,000. That was, one of our headlines. I'm pretty sure we even put that on the morning show. It would have been, if you watch that stream, you're going to see the headline, Bitcoin back above 60. You were looking pretty decent, and then to the downside. Now you're going to be holding on to that 58 level at least, so not the best look, obviously, for Coinbase here, as you fail pretty much every single level until it goes right back to 197. Like, there's not anything in terms of support, like 200, nothing. Previous high, nothing. It stalls out a little bit for like 15, I don't know, like a half an hour or so, maybe 45 minutes at 196, and you're still heading lower. I guess it's trying to catch a little bit of a bid here at 192. So nasty, nasty day for Coinbase. The good news for Coinbase, if you want to call it that, is it's at the 200-period moving average. So if it's in the bucket of stocks that you love, that you want to buy at the 200, I'm not saying it is for me because it's not, then this is the 200-period moving average. Seemingly the line of defense here. Bad day for coin. I mean, a pullback of a couple $100 on Bitcoin is nearly the end of the world, but you know that if you're trading the coins or the Mars, which was a long that didn't work for me today, and when this happens, get out of the way. Because unless you're looking short, this was a nasty day for coin. Let's see how it does with the 200-period moving average. It's been trying to ride it off this big pullback here in Coinbase. But when I say ride it, really, there's been some work to get back above because you've had a couple of deep dips underneath that 200 period. It needs to hold on to it, otherwise you're headed for another one here.
Yeah, I'm surprised at that dip actually in Coinbase. I mean, crypto's 59, like it's still in that sort of pocket, but we'll wait to see. I'm a little bit like the future of Coinbase's revenues from payments. I just interested to hear exactly what that says here. Solana ETF has only a 6% chance of approval. Okay.
That's oddly specific. Who's saying that?
I don't know.
6%.
Some sort of an analyst.
Well, you know what? I'm out here to tell you that it's a 17.8% chance of approval. So there you go.
Okay. So I'll take yours a little bit better.
What's up now?
Let me see what's going on. I don't know. Oh, wow. I sold this at 190, like 190. I might even be close to 200 not too long ago. There's Solana right now, not doing too much, but crypto space right now, pretty flat on the day. I mean, this Tron, talked about that. No one's messing around with Tron. Up 9% right now. But okay, so the trade that I had on Mara will be flat on the stock. I mean, I wish we could say we were way up. We didn't take that many shares there in the beginning because, again, we were still waiting for that 1650, but we did have a nice starter position on, so that was really good. And we were up, Mara, and it was fine. Like, we were up. And then it came back, and then we basically got out for flat our last 1/3. So we were up, and then that move came, right? The move that Neil was just talking about. So as that wiped out crypto, it also wipes out Mara, and we get out at 50 and then again at 40 as it breaks. So about 10-cent loser. You know, the most we made there was like 20 cents. We did buy it back, and it was a good one on the buyback. But now you're coming right back up into that level again. So I feel like you still want to be short crypto until it breaks, I guess, 60,000. But if it breaks 60,000, you're going to be all the way up here at 17 again. So let me just look at IBID, because if we're still underneath right now, I don't know where VWAP is to be exact. Okay, so we still are well underneath right now. I kind of like this curl up into that for maybe a short there at $34. I'm not too worried about the price, more just some of these levels. As you can see, Mara's a little closer right now. So we'll have to watch. I actually like the short, but I think I'd rather short the market, if anything, and that's coming up again here. So there's going to be a couple trades that are going to be available to us very, very soon. So let's just stay patient with all of this. I think we're getting ready to load up a little bit more of a short coming up pretty soon.
RR, guys, not one that we're typically familiar with here. Rick Robotics shares are trading higher after the company announced the installation of its first humanoid drink robot at One Kitchen. In case you haven't been following the drama with Starbucks, costs are an issue there. They have a new CEO, Brian Niccol, being touted here as possibly one of the CEOs that may explore robotics in Starbucks stores. So this one moving up aggressively on the news. I should mention to you guys, though, that this has about a 13.7% short float.
Humanoid.
RR?
Okay, so whatever that is, it doesn't matter. Price action is going to rule. It's a 13% short float with only 15, like the float is 15 million on a $1 stock that's done 100 million today. So that's story one. Story two is when in doubt, zoom out. So you get an idea, you know, you just want to have an idea of what these things look like. This is no ASTS, let's be real, but it's back above $1, so there's that. This was a 29-cent stock the other day when I go right back in here into August. So it's done a nice little rounded move to the upside. I'm a little surprised at the bounce that it's making on essentially no relative volume. But it looks like it's just $1 hold, but look at the volume non-existent back into some of those highs. You'd like to see that try to pick back up if it's going to hold on to it. So this RR, as I said, like it's kind of slowly into VWAP, doing its best, but very, very light volume going into VWAP here. That needs to pick up, or I'd say there's not much happening in terms of continuation for Rich Tech. Is that what it's called? Rich Tech Robotics.
I mean, if you've gotten rich off of Rich Tech or potentially have some money in, why not look to maximize your idle cash? I mean, for Canadian users, enjoy up to 6% per annual on cash balances up to 10 grand for 60 days, along with a 2-month commission-free account. You can also earn up to $2,300 in cash rewards when you transfer your portfolio. Both rewards can be enjoyed at the same time. With Mumu, you'll gain access to comprehensive data on not just stocks, but we're talking options and ETFs. Plus, take advantage of algo trading, allow you to create your own and backtest and execute your strategies up against the past market performances. Set up your instant alerts to trade on your own signals, helping you take trading, guess what, to that next level. Thanks to Mumu for sponsoring this portion of the show. We talk about that sort of all the time here, where we're like, hey, you know, we want to make sure that you're able to back test your strategies. And not only that, but it's nice that it's included with options there and ETFs and stocks. So on our show, of course, we will just be trading what is looking like stocks. We will trade some ETFs, of course, on the show as well. But if you are joining us for the first time, we trade all equities, no options, and we do have the ability to trade futures contracts as well. I just got into some Mara. It's not looking very good right now, but we are up to right here VWAP. So finally makes that move up. We're short at 46 right now. It's at 52. I was going to give this to that break of 60s. I think like that's going to be a lot of pressure up there. I mean, it'll be a 15-cent hit. Obviously, you know, able to hold that. Let's just see what happens now. You can't always pick the exact tops, but coming into VWAP, I kind of like this trade. We just sort of went over this. There's the futures for Bitcoin. I mean, not the futures, it's IBIT. This is Bitcoin as an ETF. So we're still a little ways away. We could get stopped out of this Mara trade a lot earlier than that break. So maybe we're in this a little bit too early, but I do want to take a few more shares as we start to climb into the proper VWAP, which, how do I zoom out? There it is right there. It's really 55-ish. So now we've gotten a little carried away. We probably should start the position now, but we just took a fill right here anyway. So 46 is our fill now on Mara, hoping for a little bit higher to get a little more short and then the move down, but I'd be happy if it comes down right now. We have 2/3 of the position that I'm expected to put on. So, all right, let's go back over and see what's up with something called Nvidia.
Who?
Yeah, I hadn't heard of it till now. Yeah, Nvidia, a bit of a tougher day, down 1 2/3%. It did have this headline, obviously not market moving, but announcing the Verse digital human technologies on devices, small language models. That's what could be going forward here as these on-device, locally based models look to gain some traction. Apple using that as well. So we'll have to keep an eye on this one, but it could improve some conversation for game characters. One of the original things that they got into, guys, gaming.
Yes, sir. I should have lots of puns for that one, but you know what? Let's not bother. You know the good thing, I always say this, the good thing about a breakout is if it doesn't break, you don't have to
right
take.
here too.
And I spent the morning, obviously, if you were watching the morning show, Nvidia looked like it was going to be strong on a bounce off the open into a double top break of 130. It doesn't happen. I didn't catch the trade on the reverse, but I waited for it to get into VWAP. Wish we'd just only done it once. It's that simple because it got to VWAP. The first time it got to VWAP was good. The second time it got to VWAP, it decided to be good, but only if it broke away.
Come on.
So it broke away from VWAP the second time through. I got out of the reload, basically putting the same trade on twice. Only when it stopped out the top, it then put the big curl. I was up from my desk when the big curl happened, or reversal, I suppose, in the market. But now you're right back into the VWAP trade for Nvidia. The only other chip name that I think, well, okay, this is weaker and it's at 130 again, is ARM. So let's just leave it at that. 130, 130, 130. It's not even close to VWAP. It wants no part of VWAP. It's near the low of the day, and it stinks right now. So trying to get filled off the 130, I think, was letting it get up there, maybe even retesting this level. But the way this is traded, ARM, that is, you've had to kind of get on the offer to get the fills. Because when it makes a bit of a turn in the consolidation, every time we pop on the offer to try to get the fill, we're not always getting it. But this is a weaker name. Percentage-wise, Nvidia and ARM about the same. But the one that can't even bounce into VWAP and is hanging off the lows, I do like to the south side. So the chips have pulled back a little bit here today after what has been an unbelievable rally. Let's be real. So it makes some sense. Some profit taking, possibly going into next week, tomorrow's earnings on Nvidia. Wednesday, yeah.
No, it's a week tomorrow.
The week tomorrow. What did I say? I thought I said a week.
Did you say week tomorrow? Yeah. Week 28th. I don't know if you said tomorrow.
I was like, I might have. No, I might have. Next week.
Matter.
Next week.
Yeah, either way,
y'all know what's
mark one of the Wednesdays down, and if you're marking Nvidia earnings, it would be next week, and that would be also with CrowdStrike. So we'll have one red name today. Oh boy,
CrowdStrike.
And it will be Nvidia, and it's because, and again, I was talking about this with you guys all morning. I was talking about this with Patrick and everybody. Again, the same kind of thing happens again, but we just kept on getting out of the way. This time it's fine. We didn't hold it for a $4 or $5 hit, anything like that. But you see this little drip down right there, that's really the hit. Trying to guide 128, 129s into that level. Once it broke, we gave it like 50 more cents, not even. Then it broke. That's 128 clean. You guys remember us taking that. This last fill is 25s. So it wasn't really that bad. I think it was a 62-cent hit at the end of the day. But if you're on some shares, that sucks. Bought some back, made some back. Then this last sort of hurrah here at 127 and change is when really it was the end of the road right now. So we are short Nvidia now. We just got a little bit more short. And I'm doing that same play. I mean, Sharif we just sort of talked about it, up into VWAP again. So we're short here at 90s now. If it breaks too much above this 128, I see when I lose on this stock, and it's going to happen again right now, it gets into that where it doesn't want to go down phase, and it just keeps on, like right there. It goes down 3 pennies, and it goes right up 5. It's like it just wipes these levels out. So, when they want to get this thing going, you can go in there, play the options game, so on and so forth. So right now, I think Nvidia just wants to, there it goes. See what I mean? So we're stopped out. So we'll slap a fail on that last move right there on Nvidia. That was not really a hit. I mean, sure, it was a hit. We got out of 10s. But, I was just talking about it, and there it goes. So I feel like NVIDIA actually has a 130 handle on it today again. I don't know. I was going short against VWAP. I'll do that 10 times out of 10. But that time, it does not work. Worked up here perfectly, and then it doesn't work again. So I think it's always worth that shot. But it just elevated up there. I was talking about this, it was 94, 95. Next thing I know, it's 128.11, and just elevated up and took out all those levels. So part of me wants to reshort this thing, but the strength it's been, low, higher low, and basically a higher low again. And then we keep on going to the upside. So I think Nvidia for now is probably a keep away. The one name that we are short that's been working out, which is my P&L number one, is the very next stock, Tesla.
Hang on with that, Sean. So a couple of headlines today, not really market moving, but obviously Tesla down the day about 0.4% right now. They did quietly remove the no resale policy from their Cybertruck, which could, give some indication as to demand or the lack thereof. There's also this headline from Baird, Baird analyst Ken Gallo maintaining the outperform rating and reiterating the $280 price target. So a nice premium from where it's currently trading at, guys.
Oh, it's bad, huh?
No, okay, a couple of things here.
Oh, Tesla.
Tesla. Okay, so I did get into ARM, and then I accidentally got out flat, but then I got right back into it, so it's still at the 130 level. You can kind of see, I want to show you guys the chart here, because every now and then, you put that stop order in, I'm like, oh, we're going to throw our stop above 130, right?
Yep.
Get into position, stop's already out there. You enter it incorrectly, you enter into the position, and if you enter it correctly, it punches you out flat every now and then. I probably do it a couple times a week. But just jump back in. I end up getting a little bit better of a price, but it doesn't matter. In and out flat, pay some fees, and then if it breaks out from this 30, just be able to jump out of it. The reason I like this short, someone had asked me, doesn't look like it's bouncing. So here, chop zone and multiple closes at 130.5, and then resistance at that 130. So I'd rather take a couple of swipes at this to close underneath that if we can. On this name. And after we do the rundown, I'll get to, I'm in US Steel and Fubo and Walmart, which two of those are going to make complete sense. Walmart because it's strong, US Steel because why weren't we short it the entire day after yesterday? My goodness, what? Of course it's down today. Of course it's down today. But Tesla, I'm not short VWAP, Sean did. End of story.
Yeah, Tesla was good. We're $2 in the money still. And the thing is that we had good outs right here. We basically, and we posted this up too, right? It was about basically flipping up the game on Tesla. That's all. And it was just, we were long early and we were basically flat. I don't even think we were, I think we might have been up actually. And then once it broke back down below, some of our levels got wiped out and we had written down here 223 for Tesla. So when that level got wiped out right here, that's when we gave it up. And we let it fall down. Then I thought we'd short against the 50, and then I don't know what we were shorting here. And then that was working until eventually it wasn't. And I remember we got stopped out there, and we were like, okay, we're still up on Tesla. And then the 200 period, and then VWAP came, and I said to myself, I'd still want to be short these names. We want to be short weaker names. So Tesla, again, into VWAP, into the 200, worked a lot, and we're still in the short. So I feel like it's the same kind of a story there for Tesla. Every day, it can make or break your day. And that seems to be happening all the time. So good move there for Tesla. It's my Nvidia number one negative stock, Tesla number one positive stock. And I feel like that's about par for the course. Both these names are wild. Big time movements every single day. Look at this from the morning, 228 down to 219, right? In an hour and a half, I guess $10 is about usual for that one. And now you're bouncing off 220. I still like the long here at 220. Let's see if the market agrees with that position or not. Potentially falling back in just a little bit here is the market. So we'll wait to see. I'm still holding this short. Want to be short weak names, but this market's debating going green here. So we'll have to wait to see.
Eli Lilly in the news again, usually in a good way. Tirzepatide, their new drug in the clinical trials right now, showing a great degree of promise, reducing the chance of type 2 diabetes by 94% in adults with pre-diabetes, as well as a 23% reduction in body mass for those who took it versus the placebo group. So up nicely, about 2 and change, but off the highs, guys.
Yeah, this was a clear case of profit taking in Eli Lilly. No question about it. It's just an absolute rocket ship to the upside. It broke it out in a big way, and now it's come right back into previous support levels. So actually, the lesson of the day today was something we had a visiting trader here was talking about. I was talking about with him, when you have a big V shape, if it goes the entire move, and then loses that previous level that it broke out from or broke down from, doesn't matter up or down. Sometimes you got to be able to put it in the rear view. Lilly hasn't done that yet today. It's held on to the $940 level, so it's holding on to this prior support. But once that happens, it's almost like you can throw at all this and you're right back to what it was doing before, which was a range-bound 915 to 940 on Lilly. The good news, of course, is the trend has been great to the upside. You don't ever want to see, ideally, a topping tail candle at an all-time high. Sometimes that means you're due for a healthy pullback. Maybe it gets to the 50 period. That would make some logical sense. If it does lose this bid, $880 makes a lot of sense to me for Eli Lilly. But you did just topping tail the all-time high there on Eli Lilly. So I can imagine some people were like, hey, let's take some profit at those fresh highs when this just gave you a $180 move in a couple weeks.
Yeah, these names are. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with taking some profit if you're able to get it.
It's not a bad move,
That's a big move there, but it's also good news. So we do like when that does come through. I was just watching out for some Mara here. It's fine. It's at the spot where I thought we should have been short in the first place. We're short now at 50, so that's much better. We are going to get stopped out if it breaks through 60, so we're pretty close to that right now. Just want to give everybody that quick little update because I'm watching, that's Tesla, sorry. I was also watching iBit, and that is, it is making the move up. I mean, when we started this trade on Mara, Bitcoin was only 59. Now you're 59.3, so Bitcoin is trending higher right now. So just be aware of those Mara shorts because if Bitcoin wants to go, there's no ETF or nothing's going to stop it. It's just a matter of it getting to there to VWAP. So if that happens, then yeah, Mara probably comes out. We, looking at it now, probably shouldn't have used the Mara VWAP. Probably should have used Bitcoin VWAP. But that's okay. If this breaks 60, just letting you guys know it's 11 cents. It will be a hit. But it's not too bad. It just went down to 54 and we didn't take it out. So I'm going to try to give this a little bit more room right now. Yeah, we were just talking about Eli Lilly. I'm already long that name, and I have a few shares in XLV as well. And then I just wanted to say that this is another kind of a safer way that if you didn't or you're already exposed maybe, and you've already got a full position potentially in an Eli Lilly, or you don't want to average into a name that's just up that much, you also have XLV that is also at all-time highs and keeps on going.
I had a thing to say about best
of breed.
It's not necessarily a best of breed thing, but I remember back, this was a couple of years ago, when everyone was, remember Biogen had that Alzheimer's thing, and Biogen was going all over the place because it's like, oh my gosh, big news for their Alzheimer's, it goes up $150 to like 300 to 500, and then it comes back down. Like it was just flying. And everyone's like, this is the upside play for Alzheimer's. And I remember in that moment, I'm like, okay, I want exposure to this.
Right.
Because, and again, everyone's been affected by it. I was just like, I really want it to work. I think it's great. I was going to talk Walmart next. This doesn't have anything to do with the story. But at that moment, I felt like I looked and it was like Eli Lilly, which had a better pipeline, had the exact same, they also had an Alzheimer's drug. They had a better pipeline. This is a while back. This is down, it was at like $170. And they had a better pipeline. They had these GLPs, which are coming. It was just a safer play. Now, Biogen probably provided more upside if Alzheimer's hit specifically. But the way I saw it was you can get the same exposure with a better name. Now, obviously, the GLPs hit and things went out of hand. That's one of the reasons why when I was long this thing, I was taking profit out on the highs because it just became too much of my portfolio. But if you can find a way, again, sometimes to get exposure to big upside in the safer name. For me, this wasn't even about, I got into this stock not even because of the GLPs. It was a happy accident because I wanted exposure to their Alzheimer's drug. And sometimes you've got to get it. Yeah, that was it. We were live in the show. We were talking it through ourselves because it was like, well, this Biogen, it was so ridiculously volatile. I'm like, I don't want to own this thing. But Eli Lilly was a safer play. Miami and Walmart, that's what I was going to talk about here next. When the market was weak, Walmart was strong. And what's weird is for most of the day, Walmart was going counter trend to the market. Like if you see here, the NASDAQ's going down, Walmart's going up, and then we bounce off VWAP, and the NASDAQ kind of pulls back. Now all of a sudden it's kind of drifting higher with the market. So good for you, Walmart. I'm glad that's the case because I kind of felt it would retest VWAP. It's a boring trade. It bounced off VWAP and put in a higher low. I'm on the higher low looking for the highs. Until Walmart breaks out 75, I think you could be just due for a range bound above 74 into 75 move for Walmart. So we're long that. Fubo, just very quickly on Fubo, it broke back out above the pre-market highs after dipping where? $1.65. Remember $1.65? That was this resistance area on the daily chart that we were talking about yesterday. So Fubo missed opportunity to go long on a dip at previous resistance here in the mid 160s, just taking it on a very, very slow breakout. It is 3 cents in the money, and it has taken, let's see, let me check, an hour and 13 minutes to do it. So it's barcoding right now. If you never hear me talk about it again, I'm offering on the way to 2, and I'm tightening my stop the longer it takes to do anything, because I think that's a reaction I want to have. And I'm going to slap a fail for the next name here. And this is on myself. Because realistically, I like buyout trading and all that kind of good stuff. And when that thing was falling apart, U.S. Steel, on that news yesterday of the Trump administration possibly being against the deal if they were to win the election, this is what happened. Sean had the trade, I had the trade. You saw it dump at the close. Then you saw it go right back in to its close price and dump again. Then you see it go to VWAP, break VWAP here, and then just start dumping. So I didn't notice it until it was doing this barcode thing at the lows, which I always like, because if you have something like this and you're looking short, you can basically just short it right here where it's consolidating, risk a couple of pennies, and then if it breaks down, great. And if it breaks up, you lose 5 cents. And if it breaks down, like it went 30 or 40 to the bottom. So I'm still holding on to the last little bit of the U.S. Steel, but should have been in this one a lot longer. It is what it is. Like, the best you can do is make the next available trade, but in complete hindsight, which of course this is hindsight, U.S. Steel wasn't that difficult of a short today. It was bad news yesterday. It went right into the previous close. You kind of let this one settle down right into the previous close price, and it's just been trending down ever since. When the news is bad and the short sets up, gotta have it.
Yeah,
That's Boeing too today, by the way.
Oh, Boeing's too.
You know what? Actually, Boeing's another one too, because Boeing was exactly the same thing. It wasn't a big story for Boeing, but it was still bad news. Oh, right into previous support, tries to hold another previous support level, and tanks. Bad news, bad stock, go short. What's up, Adara?
We have a pop-up here in TTWO, Take-Two Interactive. This pop-up coming here with volume at this Gamescom. Gearbox is another software maker announcing that this Borderlands with some really strong volume, guys.
I've liked Take-Two for that. Aren't they also Grand Theft Auto? I think so. That would be something that I was trying to get into before, and I didn't know anything about this Badlands or anything like that, but it looks like it's going to be a good franchise and nice Borderlands and a nice move all the way there. The Badlands of Borderland.
No, Badlands was a really good show on. Was it the AMC? The AMC network, I think.
What is that, 155?
It's like
AMC?
this kung fu or like a samurai weird dystopian future kung fu movie or show. I love that. Badlands. Kung fu movie or show. I love that. Badlands. Yo, maybe turn that off, Wayne.
Somebody did it. Yeah, it's all good. I mean,
we have like this big, massive.
It happens one.
We have this big bar.
I know, the sound bar, yeah.
Sound bar, because we used to have a squawk that would go off reading like the futures or reading news. The whole.
And now every time like a level gets filled on Catan or whatever, it goes off.
Exactly.
All right, so here we go. All right, we're long right now on Nvidia. Look, I tried to switch it up. We were just short. We have a bunch of like basic just shorts in here, kept on blowing out, and now it wants to come back up. Our last take was breaking through 20s, so obviously we wish we would have still held the short, but here it comes in right now. Wow, it's really bleeding out. I was going to give this to VWAP, which is basically where we're at, so we're getting close now to getting stopped out here. I have everything in my ear right now. I don't know what's... Oh, that's right. We have the Fed speaking, don't we, coming up? Or is he speaking now, Fed Barker? I don't hear anything in my ear with Benzinga, but it does look like we are starting to head to the downside right now for Nvidia. I'm going to be 10 cents away from getting stopped out right now, but we do have a nice little trade on board right now, bang, here for Mara. We did take a bit out there when it broke through 60s, but down it comes here. We'll have to watch out now. Unfortunately, I'd like the market to rip, not go the other way. But Mara's coming back down right now, so that's going to be good. Just 8 cents, but again, a little bit more shares here. It's only a $16 name. So here's the short, finally starting to come in. We're just getting filled now. Hopefully this will fall back in. I mean, I'm looking for a 200 period, looking for a 50 period. Good if that comes through. Bad for this stock as Nvidia. Look, we're out of the money right now, 15 cents. You come over to the screen here, maybe we'll lick our wounds just a little bit here, back through O's, get me through O's, and we'll take a little bit out if we can on this backwards push right now. I want to be long. We've already said this. I want to be long the strongest names. And I just thought the futures right now trying to break through, right? So, I mean, you get that nice bump up there. Let's see if it wants to continue to go. Yeah, you could slide over and trade the futures themselves. I just thought we'd pick on Nvidia, although I was short because it was weak. Then all of a sudden, higher high, or higher low, coming in. And so I thought, hey, man, maybe there is a buying opportunity here. That wasn't even that much of a move down on the futures. And Nvidia went down like 30 cents, almost 40 cents.
Yeah, the futures barely moved. Right.
So this is definitely a pause for concern. Potentially that meme sort of madness trade on Nvidia where you start to see it like roll higher. It's not rolling higher at all right now. So we'll have to wait to see. Hopefully some traders come in and start buying options again on this name because that's sort of that push that we need now.
It's a trap.
As I feel like it might be a trap. Like we said, the futures, could they go green? Well, they did. And now they're trying to have a problem basically right at that high, right? So we'll wait to see what happens right now. We still are short Tesla. Maybe we can get out of this one. If we take the 200, let's get out. Tesla's a $2 winner. It was been great off VWAP, so that's been a good trade. If the market does want to bump, though, watch out for Tesla. I'm gonna get out of the 200. My stop is way higher, so we'll cancel that and put this in right now in front of everybody. That's 221.70. So let's go 221.71. We'll put a stop order in and get out flat on that if it wants to come back upside. So that's what we're doing now. Mara, Nvidia, Tesla.
The next time a U.S. Steel makes a pop, I'm going to short that pop. If anything else goes up, great, whatever. If it sets up, you like it, take your shot at it. But if U.S. Steel goes up again into a previous level, it just needs to be shorted. So it's bouncing off of 38 even here. Kind of hard to see, but there's not like a lot of size on the bid. But when they hit it, it kind of came back. So maybe there's a little bit more to 38 even. It's an even dollar. When it takes them out, I want to look for a reload anywhere off of where the flat bottom break was at 38.20. So as long as that's where things broke down, that's where I want to try to jump back into it on U.S. Steel. So we'll see what happens with that. Walmart's still looking okay. ARM just came right into that previous close at 130.5. We tried it off of the 130. It broke 130. Went to the quarters. It broke the quarters. Now off of this half, giving it to about 65. This is that level 1, 2, multiple closes at that price and then a resistance spot. If it breaks this, you're probably headed to VWAP. But until it happens, we're going to get out. And Havana Woody, we actually had RR. It was Rich Tech Robotics.
Yes, some kind of robotics.
Usually I get those wrong, but that's right. It is Rich Tech. No, it's Rich Tech Robotics. I just looked up at Trade Ideas to confirm that. It's back above VWAP, and the volume's starting to come into this thing. So maybe this is coming to life. It's not the highest volume like the morning, but it's starting to pick up a little bit and bouncing and starting to hold a little bit of VWAP action. So I'd like one of these. If there's something moving in the afternoon, a small cap, I don't mind them. Like to see this pick up as it holds on to VWAP because there could be something here like a 125 hold or something like that. When the high's at $1.60, there's certainly some room to go on this Rich Tech, which popped up. Just needs to do some more volume holding on to VWAP as we speak. There is one name that we haven't talked about, I don't think nearly enough today. We talked about it a lot this morning, and it's Apple. And Apple's back, and Apple ended up holding that 226, and it's back up. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, let's call it 5 times. It's tested above 227. The most important thing is it's at the high while the futures are trying to get to the high. So Apple looks relatively strong. Maybe we can get a VWAP or trace here, but strong stock, look to buy the dip if we can even get it. Apple's been a beast today, up 0.5%, but that's an impressive 0.5% in my estimate.
We have a treat today. Justin Zaks, VP of Strategy, coming in a couple minutes, about 10 minutes from Mumu. So we'll talk to Justin and figure out, am I crazy for going long or short Nvidia? Are we at the right levels? We'll talk about that with Justin and we'll figure out his opinion. But right now, here we go. It's trying to get back up to the upside right now on Nvidia. So we're long, we were short, we were long, and that's why we're looking for some help. So we'll figure this all out. Long, early, short, late. Just a lot of trades here. We don't need to be on this name. I don't know why we are, other than the fact that we're always covering Nvidia right here. Palantir was a good one, man, today. We were able to short it here again, and this is kind of a funny one. We shorted it at VWAP because, again, we were down more than the market was. Now we took off. I know there's some traders that were actually going long off VWAP. We wrote down here on our sticky note today that we actually like 33 long. But as Neil's mentioned a couple times, if there's no breakout, then you don't need to take the trade. Palantir didn't even get to $33. So the reason why I like that breakout, it's pretty simple. First of all, we have the Palantir hat here. Second of all, this play right here at 33 bucks, that looks like a pretty clean breakout to me, holding the 50 period, moving average, retest, break, retest, thought break, no break. So now we'll have to wait to see if Palantir has the juice back in it. I don't think today, definitely not a trade I'm looking for today right now, but something for tomorrow. PLTR, if the market bounces back a little bit, although we're flat, if we come up with a nice update tomorrow, let's check out for Palantir. And I mean, I hope it comes in tomorrow. We'll see if it does. But that's PLTR, just one of those ideas. Look, this sucks, all right? Mara. So the reason why I'm saying Mara sucks, it does not. We're doing all right on this position, but it ran our first stop right there. So we got out and then back in twice. So that's kind of how I was like, how dare you do that? Because again, we talked about looking at Bitcoin versus Mara. And I said we were in Mara a little too early. This got faded off of VWAP, so we're actually lucky that Bitcoin didn't continue to go. But remember, we were short Mara when this was 59.3. And I'll go back over to Mara again. This was at 1660. We've pulled back quite a decent bit here, considering, in my opinion, crypto has not pulled back. So why would that be good? All right, well, in my opinion, if Bitcoin does pull back, then we should have extended weakness in Mara. So that's my, go back to IBIT, that's my kind of logic that I'm dealing with here. If Bitcoin actually pulls back, which it's not really doing too much right now, right? That's pulling back on IBIT. It's probably like 0.1% or something on Bitcoin. As you get that 15 cents. But look at the relationship here now that Mara is doing. Mara is actually covering all the way back to where we were at 2 o'clock, and that's not the case for Bitcoin. So a little bit of hopefully a positive regression back down for Mara versus the price of Bitcoin. And then hopefully Nvidia can get jiggy with it right now, because there it goes back there to the upside. So sometimes we have little glimmers of hope where we talk about flipping over your stock opinion. We were short, we went long, and siren it up right there. So we'll figure out what happens. Yeah, what's up, Saad Mahmood, sorry. Talking about, yeah, I mean, I've already told you the kind of trader that I am. So it's the, trying to find strength and weakness, which one's reverting against each other, and then trade them together. I mean, we talk about the market. If the market's strong, and as is Nvidia, then I'd like to go long. That's why this name today has really fooled me, because it's been weak, and it was really weak early. So this fact that we're shorting it here, this is no surprise to me. Shorting a name that was weak as a percentage against a market that is flat. So I'll pretty much always do that, but then I got to remember and say to myself, Nvidia is not a normal stock.
It's not normal at all.
And it will just do. And look, it's been P&L number 1 for me many days, and it's been P&L number -1, where it is the worst stock for me today. And that's trading, but we're making it back in other places. There goes Nvidia right now, 21 cents in the money, and we still have half the position, so we've done good.
Yeah, and speaking of Apple, I mean, it's doing a bit of a consolidation here off the top. So if it can't get to VWAP, then you see how this is your high, 227. Technically, the high from the morning is 227.17 or 16 or 17. Right now, it's about 10s and 11s. So like the long in here, it's about a 21, 22 cent range consolidation. So a bit of a tight area or a tight window to try to work into a potential breakout of the high. If it loses like the 85s or so, just going to get out, wait for VWAP. and that's a big if we can even get that one to the upside. I just saw someone in the chat saying Intel is looking like it's breaking down. Intel's right at VWAP. So I had a breakdown in Intel. Like if the floodgates are going to open, I'm like, I'm short here. It breaks out 21. And I had it like, okay, there's 2065. There's 2025. If this is going to be an Intel dump day, then I'm here and I'm just going to jump in, risk 15 pennies, not even try and scalp out and have it flush. It was not one of those days. It ended up being an inside day in Intel, so I didn't trade it afterward. And it's still an inside day after that initial dump. But it's at VWAP. Similar looking chart to, I think, some of the, these bounces in some of the chip names. I mean, Nvidia bounce gets to VWAP. Intel's bounce has gone to VWAP. So I think it's very similar to those. Not really on my radar. We're going to be over on Apple. And I went back to that RR stock to see if it could hold on. Nope. The volume just does not come back in above VWAP. It's trying again to go, but the volume is so weak on this. Just needs a little bit more juice. And I promise you, if we get another pop, next time in US Steel, we're going to get it. It's still holding 38. Could be flat bottom breaking to the downside. But this is the one on any kind of pop. I want to make sure we're getting more of this. Just been trending down, 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 down all day after that bad news. Market's going up. And this one is barely budging.
So Justin Zaks, VP of Strategy, going to be joining us very, very soon
minutes.
from Mumu, getting ready to get locked and loaded there in the green room. Okay. We'll talk about a whole bunch of different names in just a couple minutes. I just want to clear up some of the trades that we have on board because, first of all, Mara, we took a 48, we just took a 50. I'm going to now try to hold and see if we can get some dip buy opportunities into this, or dip covering. We're already short. We like to cover some of this. And I'm thinking the 200 period, although I still sit here, and this is why I'm nervous, man. We keep on watching crypto. If you go to the bottom right of my screen, right down here, 59.4, basically, 59.367 now for BTC. So watching that price versus, of course, the price of Mara. So would really appreciate it if Bitcoin went down and we can see what Mara wants to do. We're out of half of our reloaded position right now on MARA. And then the stock that's really been a great reload, man. And we went long and now it's starting to go back up and we're at the highs of the afternoon right now with Nvidia, but it keeps on having a problem breaking that high rate there of 30s. So hopefully we can get through there and we'll be celebrating a little bit more of a winner there right now. Yeah, you're right, Paula. Sometimes it is best to stay away from Nvidia, but I don't know why today I would have stayed away. I mean, I was thinking short, was thinking long early because we were against the market and it was up. And all of a sudden this happened. We flipped over short. I'm actually, besides what we just did right here, I'm pretty fine with it today. Would just rather it be ripping a little bit more here because the futures are positive, right? I just thought this little move up, we were just been getting going more on Nvidia. So now let's hold out that is what winds up happening. And we'll see if we can capture just a little bit more profit here on Nvidia with hopefully, there it goes, into the 30s, into the 40s. I'm going to take another piece out. And this is what, honestly, like what I've learned about trading bigger size is that it affords you the scalping, which I obviously like to do. So when you're seeing these positions going in and out like this, like we're still holding on. I said we're still holding on to half. We just took another piece out right there. So now we're holding on to about 40%. Let's let this go. I have one more offer up here at 47s. Hopefully that will fill. And then honestly, up and away in Nvidia. I mean, this is not even a thing yet. We're still down. This can go green and like pretend like none of this even happened today. So there goes Nvidia. Wow. That is honestly, we'll Barry Horowitz ourselves and pat ourselves on the back for that one because flipping over into the long there definitely takes some kind of like, in my opinion anyways, the way I trade, I have to be convinced of doing that because I'm already sort of set on my ways for the short, but I'm glad that we're able to do that. We also did that on Tesla today, which is my P&L number one, having the ability to go long early, being wrong when it breaks our level of 223 as we wrote down, and then just look at flip the shorts, and those, those started to pay off. There goes Nvidia, baby. It's a 50-cent winner.
There was a line that I forget what it was, but it was one of our midday hosts. It was like a couple of years ago. It was Luca, and he had something about if basically it was like if the long doesn't go, blah 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 blah, shorts. I have to think about it. It was so good.
So good you forgot about it?
No, it was abort the short, long fly, some kind of nonsense like that. It was so like I have to remember it, but it was like really good one. But I always find you have to really pick your spots when it comes to flipping. Because I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to get out of Walmart because it's going back to this relationship where the NASDAQ's going up and it's coming down. That's what was happening for most of the day. But I don't think it's a go short if it loses the high or low support here. Because it's still an upward trending stock. It would have to crack VWAP. It might even have to lose 74 before I get bearish on it. So I'm going to get out here, but I don't think it's at a critical mass level where it's like, yeah, let's get out of this thing and reverse into it immediately. It doesn't also have that kind of explosive movement on it. To me, if you're reversing, it's because the stock's really going. It's at a key level, and it's going to explode away from that price. I'm not expecting it to explode away from these 30. So I'm going to get out there. That's right. Neo was if you abort the short, the long can't be wrong. I think that's what Luca used to say. But I don't think it's that tried and true on every single level. Because if you always reverse every trade, then what's going to happen to you is Citadel is just going to love you. Virtu is just going to love you. It's just fees. It's an expensive way to trade. So you pick your spots. Now, Nvidia is going to be an explosive mover. So you want to do that. And speaking of stocks that have explosive moves or strategies that you might want to reverse or how to backtest strategies and in general, we do have our guest we've got here in from Mumu. There he is. Good to see you. We've got Justin Zacks from Mumu. Glad to see you are happy with these markets. They're moving around. We got great volatility here, which is all we can pretty much ask for. Justin, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I was just listening a little bit before in the green room, and very interesting. You're talking about flipping in and out, and it's kind of one of those days. The market hasn't overall moved too much, but we're seeing some ups and downs, and sometimes those can be tricky times to trade, and that's obviously where you want to focus on a brokerage that has kind of that all-in-one low cost. And that's something here at Mumu we're really focused on, particularly, out in Canada, we have very competitive margins rates, currency exchange, commission rates, kind of all wrapped up in one compared to a lot of our competitors. What I was looking at here is I want to show you my chart here that I have. I was looking at what was going on yesterday, right? The last 10 minutes. And we've been up 8 days in a row in S&P 500, right? And if you look at 350, you look at right here, the sellers just came in, the buyers just came in, lifted the market on the end there. It almost looks like the opposite. No one talks about it a lot. Everyone talks about markets go down. We have some type of panic selling. This was panic buying. You have, a lot of institutional money coming in on the close, and those are the types of traders that have to meet their benchmarks. And I feel like they had got a big head fake. If you look at, the zoom out on the longer term chart, we pretty much got all our gains back from the quite a V bottom we've had over the last few weeks. And so when they came in yesterday, I was wondering to see what was going to happen in the morning. So in the morning, again, I think we had that, real quick continuation up here. And then it kind of stalled. And then a lot of times you might see that come straight back down, but that's not what happened. We've just been kind of up and down, and it's kind of one of those choppy markets that you're not sure what's going to happen. But the most fascinating part I found today was our range on S&P 500 is about 0.6 of a percent today. Not a huge range, but look at this VIX. The VIX is considerably up. That's an unusual thing to see when we're near the flat line. And this is kind of this look forward. I think that some people are looking at what's coming down the line later this week, later this month, because VIX measures 30-day expected implied volatility of the S&P 500. And so I think people got a little complacent. We've just had eight up days in a row, and they're kind of looking forward to all this type of information that's going to come out over the next week and the next month.
So with regards to that, Justin, obviously we've got Nvidia earnings next week, and that's going to have some people a bit skittish. It's going to move the markets a lot. But what else are we looking at in the future? We're talking about rates, something that's going on in the south of the border here. I know we're north of the border, but south of the border, that's going to be pretty important. So, is there something that you think out of these news catalysts that you would say stands out the most, that could be the biggest backbreaker potentially for the market or the biggest market mover that would be causing this volatility spike? Is it Jackson Hole in rates? Would you say it's Nvidia earnings or maybe the election?
Yeah, I'm going to give you a couple, and I'm going to give you ones that everyone knows about, and then ones that maybe not everyone's looking at. Thursday we have out of the U.S. we have PMI, we have continuing claims, we have existing home sales. We saw a lot of great economic data last week. We haven't seen much economic data. So this economic data is going to be key on Thursday. But more importantly, I think, is this number tomorrow. And this is 10 a.m. Eastern. We're going to see the Bureau of Labor Statistics report preliminary annual payroll benchmark revisions. And the expectation is it's not going to be good. This could change the Fed narrative and what they're going to say in Jackson Hole. And so if we see a big revision, 500,000 jobs, revised on the downside, we have, added something like, I think is almost 3 million jobs through the 12 months through March of 24 when this revision takes place. If we see that come down significantly, there's going to be a narrative that the Fed is very much behind the curve. And you're going to get this narrative before the chairman speaks at 10 a.m. Eastern on Friday. And so on the terms of Jackson Hole, what everyone's going to be looking at is the chairman's speech. And obviously that's going to be very important. But a lot of people won't be looking at, and they should, is afterwards, every single member of the Fed is going to be at the Jackson Hole Symposium, right? And so they're all going to be speaking to the press right afterwards, Friday afternoon, in late morning into the afternoon. Those comments and how they interpret the speech of the chairman are probably just as important and great trading opportunities. And lastly, you're going to have Christine Lagarde speak at 3 p.m. Eastern on the ECB. And we see all of this stuff really being tied together, right? We saw Canadian inflation this morning. That might have even influenced the bond market today. So we're seeing 10-year yields about 4 basis points lower on a softer than expected Canadian core CPI report. That pretty much gives the Bank of Canada a green light on September 4th to probably cut 25 basis points again. A lot of these moves are not made in a vacuum by the Fed, by the ECB, Bank of Japan, Bank of Canada. They're making all these moves together, and all of it's intertwined.
Hey, Justin, what's going on? It's Sean here. Thank you for coming on board with us here and having Mumu as part of the Trader TV Live family. So thank you for that, and thank you for some of your insights. All right, we'll talk a little bit about earnings. I know maybe you're interested in a little bit of PanW. That took me a little bit by surprise today, although we beat on the top and the bottom line, up 8.5%. Any surprises there for you? I mean, if you're looking at a daily chart here for PanW, we basically make it all the way back to these highs. You come over to the chart here, Ramin, we'll quickly show this. Right back here, up to the highs again, where we faded off. That one bad report there, all the way down to the 200 period, now all the way back up. What's trading like for you over there, maybe on PanW? At Mumu, you guys seeing a lot of volume on earnings days? Or what's your opinion maybe on the cybersecurity space as a whole right now, especially with some of those things that we were talking about, the election coming up, interest rates, everybody's so interested on all this security now. Anything in this space? And what about these PanW earnings up 8%?
Yeah, my thought is, you see a number of triggers here. It's not just one. It's the top and bottom beat. Really good outlook from them. I think that the boost in their share repurchase program, they extended their share repurchase program by $500 million to $1 billion. You saw margin expansion. You saw these AI offerings, really do well, and I think that's something everyone continues to look at. And obviously, you mentioned Nvidia before. Next Wednesday, that's going to be, obviously the most important earnings of the entire season. Right. It's going to matter not just for Nvidia and the chips and all the AI plays, but it's going to matter for probably the entire stock market. Additionally, I think Palo Alto, a lot of people were wondering what was going to happen with the IT outage. And I think It looks like a lot of people think they may benefit from that. And so you take all these factors together, you're seeing, kind of this 8% move. And it kind of shows you that if a company can put everything together, the market's going to reward it and they're going to push it higher.
Yeah, it's been really funny that we've seen a lot of big names like a Starbucks or a Nike that have really gotten hit on brand. It's like all of a sudden, next thing you know, a stock like Lululemon, that's been a very big brand name, or like a Nike, that's a staple, and like a Starbucks really got hit. And then all of a sudden, we got that nickel from CMG come over, and next thing you know, it's boom goes the dynamite to some of these stocks. Starbucks gained over $21 billion in market cap alone on Brian Nickel's appointment just earlier on this week. Any opinions on that name, maybe with Starbucks? I know we're not going to talk too much specifics here, but that's a big move up just for a simple CEO change. So do you have any opinions maybe on that one, maybe getting a little exhausted now to the upside? It seems to be hovering between this 97 and 92 area. It's a name that we often look at here on the show. I tried to short it earlier to some success, but right now Starbucks looking real strong up here and holding that bid, which, to be frank, Justin, I didn't think we were going to hold this bid for this long.
Yeah, and a lot of that's also, Starbucks has a lot of activists, investors in there, in what they're doing behind the scenes. A lot of them that's like the pop they were waiting for, and it probably, that could be worthy of an entire year's investment, 20%,
right,
and what they're looking for a lot of times. So you kind of wonder, are they in this for the long haul? Do they want to see what happens? And if they're not selling, I think that's what may be keeping it kind of up recently. The other part, I think, is the macro part, right? So we had these poor economic indicators, and I think a lot of these, it's not just the brand, it's like, oh, the consumer's dead and
right,
all of this type of stuff. And then last week, all of a sudden, retail sales came out. Walmart came out and said, okay, everything is great. But you got to think, Walmart's a very specific case, right? It's mostly groceries. And in certain cases, Starbucks is a must-have for some people, but for other people, your $25 latte or whatever it costs nowadays is a discretionary type of thing. And we're going to get some really good earnings later tonight and into tomorrow with Target and TJX and Macy's. And it's going to look at all different parts of the consumer. It's going to look at those, with Target, it's going to look at the staples and the groceries. TJX is going to look at the low-end consumer. Macy's is going to see the high-end consumer. I think it's going to get us a great look at each of those and to say, where are we going to go? And that may be, a way you can trade Starbucks. I would like to see if Starbucks moves at all with Macy's, because you wouldn't necessarily think it's exactly correlated, but you might see something there.
And I get that feeling with the retail consumer. I mean, I'm the same way as you. Just depends what the big money wants, right? If they want us to be buying, then they'll come say the consumer is strong. If they want us to sell, then they'll say the consumer is weak. And it's like that. These games continue to be played. One thing I want to talk about, the DNC is going right now, right? The convention. Any sectors potentially? I have LMT up here. And I mean, I don't really want to talk too much about war times or anything like that. But if the current administration stays, obviously with the changeover with Kamala, maybe we continue to get some upside boost in names like this. Is there any sectors that you're thinking, as we are now, I think it's 75 days away from the general election there. So anything that we should be looking at? Any sectors, any specific names, or any ETFs, anything you're looking at right now heading into this election cycle?
Yeah, and I would say, specifically, and timing matters for all of this. Is one of the great things about the Mumu app is the ability to trade 16 hours a day. And a lot of this stuff is going to be, after the bell. And the big thing is going to be Kamala Harris's speech on Thursday evening. That's probably going to set the tone for the market generally. And for particular sectors. It's about, is she going to get specific? She hasn't come out with a specific plan. Is she going to mention certain things? She's talked about, a $25,000 down payment assistance, right, for home buyers. That could, that could move the home builders if she mentions that again. It could also be particularly inflationary on an overall aspect. She mentioned a price gouging ban on groceries. So you can look into some of these grocery companies. I know Kroger has been in the news with the Albertsons merger recently. That's, antitrust is a whole nother separate thing. Wonder if she brings that up. Is she going to get into these specifics? I think any specific she mentions has a chance to move that sector. Overall for the market is, is she going to talk about how she's going to pay for all of
Right.
different programs that she wants to put in place? And that she had mentioned in the past, raising the corporate income tax rate from 21% to 28%. Now you got to think about which stocks have significant earnings and pay significant taxes. Those are the stocks that could suffer the most. And so those are the types of things I'm looking at. The Democrats have historically been good for healthcare, but she has also talked, about this direct, negotiation with the drug companies. So the drug companies, you might have to break out of healthcare in terms of your sector analysis there. Overall, ESG themes are something I would look for her to talk about broadly. So any type of alt energy, I think, is something to be looking at going into Thursday night.
Good luck.
Oh, you nailed that, Justin, because even people in our chat are like, as you're saying that, XOM's down 3%, energy's getting hit. There's some concern there. There's definitely going to be a little bit of concern. Whether we get specifics or not, that's just a wait and see moment, I think for sure. But you've got to be locked and loaded to that. And at the end of the day, we can never predict the future. But as you've been doing a fantastic job of, I want to shout out to everybody in the chat for the positive and kind words for Justin. I don't know if you've been seeing it, but it's been fantastic, the reception here. You just need to know where to look. I mean, ultimately, when you're trading, you want the ability to execute fast. Have the ability to backtest your strategy, all the things that we've talked about already. But you also want to know, am I looking in the right place to execute trades where the market's going to be going? Am I looking at the right catalyst? And I think you've done a really good job eloquently pointing out what we should be looking forward to. Those revisions on the numbers coming up this week, I think, are going to be a big tell. And thank you so much for letting us know that. Before we move on and get out of here, is there anything that you haven't gotten to? I know we mentioned targets. I was wondering, are we going to talk a little bit of retail? You mentioned Target, TJX. Going to be coming through with earnings. Is there something that we haven't covered that is in the back of your mind, good or bad, doesn't matter whatsoever?
Yeah, the other thing that we haven't talked about was one of the other big reporters was Lowe's. We saw them lower guidance. There's less renovations. There's also been this kind of DIY pull forward from COVID. It's like people did all their renovations during COVID. That's all they did was spend a year sitting at home doing home renovations, and maybe that got pulled forward a little bit. I'm very interested to see what happens. So to me, there's a trade-off, right? As rates go lower, people are more likely to take money out of their home. They're more likely to, make a home purchase. But at the same time, rates may be going lower for the wrong reason, is a slowdown in the economy. And that's obviously going to affect the willingness of people to spend on their home, whether that's through renovation or through home purchasing. And so the other place I'll be looking at tonight after the bell, we have Toll Brothers. And Toll Brothers is kind of the bellwether for affluent home customers. They kind of cornered the market in that area. And so they have a great look into how some of these affluent customers are going. So not only do I want to see what's going on with their earnings, but the conference call itself on color going forward is I think going to be really interesting.
Great final thought there, Justin. Thank you so much. And if you're interested in seeing how Toll Brothers does on those earnings, you can check out Sean and Adair on after our aftermarket show after 4 o'clock. So we'll see how those ones do for sure. Thank you so much, Justin, Zach. Fantastic guest. Look forward to talking to you again. Have a great and fantastic day, sir.
Thanks, Justin.
You too. Thanks for having me on.
Take care.
Ciao. That's a wrap on that. Thank you, Justin, for coming through. I mean, it's always nice to have new members added to the family. And there we go, Justin. Great stuff there, man. We talked about that a little bit yesterday with Michael on the recap show. We talked about uranium. We talked about just different sources of energy there. Yep. TAN, which is the solar ETF.
Ooh, those have been bad.
They've all been bad. Uranium's been horrible. Not really trading properly. Here's SMR is the one that everybody
they're trading
likes.
fine.
Yeah, if you're short, they're great. Yeah. Short all energy, it seems like today for sure. SMR, this has been a popular one. New Scale, is it New Scale? Hold on a second, SMR. It is, New Scale, yeah. So again, small modular reactors, nice downside name. Let's just see what's happening with TAN today again, just to go over some of these things. And We bought some dips in Nvidia right there, so we're going to see what's happening right there. 1.84% on TAN. That was for you, Mr. Jones, and everybody in the chat that was like, they could really see that I was trading Nvidia while interviewing Justin there, so that was great to have him on and trading at the same time. The other one was URA, Uranium ETF, coming way in. And I mean, this name, look, it's up today, but this name is the one that's, and we talked about this yesterday, and Michael actually brought this up to my attention. He said, Sean, it's at a level that I called, 25. So I was like, okay. And he brought it up. He showed the chart of the day that he and I talked about this level. And he asked me if I was long. And I was like, no, but I should be. So we'll probably pick up some uranium over the next couple minutes. Not minutes, days maybe.
Well, you never know.
Maybe, I mean, I can log in right now and buy it. But uranium, nice downside move there. SMR, CCJ, some names to get there. And then if you wanted some, I think FSLR has been.
If you have to pick
the
one,
leader.
I think that's like
I don't really like. I'd rather get uranium than solar myself.
Oh,
I don't.
I tend to agree because I think the energy concerns
Fubo,
are going to be big. Look, we'll get to Fubo.
Fubo don't need no energy, man. It's got it right now. It's trying to make $2.
Okay, so here's the thing about Fubo. Like when we came on, I basically told you this was the scene in what's that movie? It's Austin Powers, but I don't remember which Austin Powers. Let's call it the second one.
Just say gold member.
Yeah, let's just say gold member. The one where like he's gonna get run over by he's gonna get run over and it takes like an hour for him to get all the way across the warehouse to roll. And the guy just sits there like screaming.
And
he's like, okay, this slow motion is like, okay. That's what Fubo was doing. It took 1 hour to go the first 4 cents of this move. It then took like 15 minutes to go up and test $2. So sometimes it's like that. However, and look, it's a breakout very cleanly. You can see the resistance level. What is 184, 184, 185 up here. It breaks it out, then starts consolidating. So I just went long when it broke out, essentially. And then it just kind of very slowly worked its way to the upside. However, and I say this for the same reason as US Steel, this should have been not a breakout trade. This should have been a dip buy into the 165s, like into the mid 160s. This was an easy, I don't want to say an easy opportunity, but if you like support and resistance, one of the fundamental aspects of support and resistance, because it's easy to see in a chart, is when a stock breaks out, makes a low, and breaks out, previous resistance up here, that's 160. These levels here, that's 162. These are like the mid 160, 66, 67, 68. It provides you with an opportunity where you don't know where it's going to dip to, but you do know where there were sellers before, and there was a little bit of an equilibrium or battle, and that's where your first look, a lot of times, is for a bounce play. That's exactly what happened on Fubo. And I know we're both looking Fubo. Yeah, that's right. You know, I say Fubo, like it's ridiculous. You can tell how old I am by how many times I want to say Fubo. But both of us were talking about this mid 160 yesterday. It never traded at that price. Fast forward 1 day later, and that's exactly where your bounce comes here on Fubo TV. So the breakout's good, but this should have been a dip buy, and then it would have been a much, much bigger opportunity, up 10%. Looks like it wants to break this 220 eventually, which I know I'm going to be on if it breaks 220, hopefully tomorrow.
All right, yeah. Trying to watch out here as Nvidia is taking a dive down. We do got Mara. Mara was a good trade. I want to thank Christina Neal right here. Thank you for the best trading show ever. Sean, remember your guest Raider Trader said the market would take a dip on the 20th. So today's the 20th. So, I mean, where's Raider Trader at right now? I mean, he got his reasons. We really like Raider Trader. It's obviously did not take a dip here today. And again, the thing is that Raider Trader is going to trade options. So whether or not, you know, he's already been positioned for something like this, we'll have him back on Friday, and we'll figure out what exactly he's up to on that trade. So we'll find out about that. And again, I don't want to say, not here to throw shade on traders' ideas, right? I mean, I feel like that probably was a great one. The market has had its moves down, and if you're able to catch some of those, then why not? I mean, here's the NASDAQ right now. Nvidia just breaking below. I got to make sure that we have our stop going right now because it doesn't appear that I do. They should have been stopped out already. But we're just into this area, so I'll hit refresh and figure out where these stops are exactly. Breaking of 75. So yeah, we're very, very close. Actually, you know what? Now that we've already taken some profit, I'm going to cancel that and just zoom in a little bit. So that's now at 65s. So we were able to, so I put the 75 when we started to get in here. Now we've taken some out for nice profits, just coming back into flat. If anything, let's try one more reload down here and then put an order and see if it can break below. What did I say this was? 65. So, all right, here it goes. Oh man, it's like this is my worst stock today, yet it's the only one I'm trading right now. Bad decision, my guy. Bad decision. All right, so we'll wait and hopefully it works out. I'm not obviously calling this a bad decision in front of you. That does not give anybody that much confidence, but it's not. We've just been fighting it too much. Like, think about this. An hour ago at 211, so an hour ago, we were thinking short at this level. We lost. Then we went long and actually made it one on it. And now we're long again and thinking about what have we done. So I don't, I don't like that. In the morning when something's going for us, we actually have conviction and we have not just that. This is not like that confidence thing. This is just like right now it's choppy and I can see that. So it's about putting on the amount of risk. We will not put on the amount of risk right now. I'm putting on some risk because I think there's money to be made. But right now in this chop, especially with the market, I mean, the market's the same thing. Here's the market over the last hour. This is where we started shorting. This is an hour ago. And then it did this, and now we're right back here again. So yeah, I mean, it would make sense that confidence in all of these things a little low.
It's just different. The market doesn't move the way in the afternoon that it does in the morning.
Yeah,
you have all day long for it to. This is the thing. You have when you're a day trader, and again, if you're a swing trader, you don't have these problems as a swing trader. Like Raider trader, you'd be like, so what? The market didn't go up today. He could be swinging for options that expire out a month from now.
Yeah, who knows, right?
Like who knows,
Literally,
right? So,
who knows?
But when you're a day trader, it's 311. If it ain't going now, that's why I was so pissed at Fubo. It's like if it's not going now, you have to get out of the trade. So that's what matters overall. Like a couple of things here very quickly, because like ARM, now there's a buyer at 130. It's a refresher. I've seen it multiple times now. It's just holding the line at this 130 level. There was one dip underneath. It got like 10 cents, and then it's right back in here holding 130. So until it breaks this, we're not going to get any big moves. I want to be positioned in case it does flush, but I don't think I want to be adding to that. And then U.S. Steel, I keep saying the next available pop is a short. It's trying to break the low again.
Nvidia.
So the next available pop could just be right back into 38. So this is 38.05, the local high. What I'm going to do is, if I'm going to trail out at that price, which, spoiler alert, that's where my trail is going to be at 38.05, then I'm just going to jump back in the short at 38 if I can get it. And this is something that I know a lot of traders, it's something, I know Max talks about it a lot. And it's one of those, and we're trading Carvana and was sitting on the desk with Max, and if you like a stock in a certain trend and it's a strong trending stock, and you're like, oh, I'm going to trail out if it breaks this, but that provides you with a level maybe where you can add to it on light risk. And if it continues the trend, you're adding, because you can't worry about the price that you have always and worry about what the next trade is. Because this was another flat bottom break. The same thing it did here, I could have just had it there. And every single time U.S. Steel has had a flat bottom break today, it's been free money. Flat bottom break, easy short. Flat bottom break, easy short. That's the entire reason I took this trade, because flat bottom break, easy short. It just did it again. And I was nowhere to be seen. So if it gets back to 38, I'm shorting the pop. It did it last time and gave it to you. So I want to see if it can do this for me one more time. Walmart is now looking like it'll come out. My stop is underneath 33, I believe. So, all right, it's basically holding the line. It's now for 15 minutes, it's been trying to break this support where we got in, but not exactly happening. So you're into power hour. The market's trying to roll over. ARM needs to go. U.S. Steel is working into the downside. Let me know anything else you guys are looking at. I did go over back to that RR stock, which, here we go. RR, it's back above VWAP, and it's still not doing volume. So the volume really drying up on rich tech robotics.
The Rolls Royce of robotics.
Well, I mean, if you've got, what was it, like a serving robot or something? I don't know.
Yeah, was it a humanoid?
I think it was like something along the guy, like the robot in Passengers that serves you drinks and stuff. Is it that kind of a thing?
Must be.
Everyone needs.
There's that sushi place that we went to that serves. It comes on a robot as well. It's pretty hype.
That's
okay. Yeah, we went to that. All right. So meanwhile. We got it, man. Mara, let's hit the sirens up for that one. I mean, Mara came in. Our best fill on Mara right there is 38s. So we're short 58s. Our best fill there is 38s. Let's see if it continues, man. I mean, I hope it does to the downside, but I also do hope that Nvidia moves up to the upside. We are now an amazing 10 cents in the money. We are waiting for O's now on NVDA. Hopefully we can get that and take our 15 cents and then hold the rest. We'll try to hold. We're just trying to get out of basically 20% or so if we can get that O's fill just for 15 cents. Our stop is 15 cents, so 1-to-1 to me is we should look to take some of that. So a nice little move upside, we will do that. We just got out at VWAP. Or is that VWAP? Yeah. I mean, when's the last time you saw VWAP like this on Nvidia? Basically a straight line right here into the afternoon.
That's almost telling.
That is telling. So that's why I'm saying that I feel like this is bad. It's not moving. I do not need to be in this. And even right now, look, it won't even go a penny. Like I'm sitting there at O's and now I'm like, oh, I got to get out at 98s. So we'll offer some we'll offer this. It hasn't got turned on yet and it's 3:15. So I'm a little bit nervous about where Nvidia wants to go today. We could be in for a red day for Nvidia. Remember though, the last couple times we've had some nice buys action into the close.
There's been good close moves on
with
Nvidia.
Those in closing imbalances. So I'm not holding for that by any stretch because we're out if it breaks 75 or 65, whatever that level was. I think 65. Yeah, that makes more sense. But that's going to be our out. So that will hit well before 350. But at the end of the day, there has been some buy side action. We're waiting now at 98s, not at O's, to take 13 cents. See if we can get some out there. Then they'll be left with about 75% of the position. So here it comes back in. You already see me put my out at 65. Let's see if that can hold. But I'd like to get that out first up there near 98 and see if we can hold out for that. Mara's coming back. I'm still watching crypto, man. Crypto's down here at 59.2. Not much happening. We can take a look at Coinbase, of course. 195. I think it was 192, wasn't it? Wasn't that the low, something like that? Yeah, 191.50. So Coinbase, since we've been talking about it and since you guys asked us at 2 o'clock, it's been a nice steady move up. So yeah, Coinbase definitely off that bottom. Watch out for that 192, maybe later today or even tomorrow as another spot. So okay, come on, man. Nvidia just got to 95 and stopped again. I'm starting to get a little bit turnt with this. You know, Netflix. I was going to ask Justin, right, about, oh, there it goes. We finally get it. About Netflix, but honestly, it took out all-time highs today and has just been chilling. So I really like this stock. There's not too many big tech stocks that are at and above their all-time highs right now. So Netflix is definitely one of those. So that checks that box if you're looking for strength versus weakness. This name definitely a strong one. Netflix at and above now. Well, not now, but today, all-time highs. So I don't know. What other names at all-time highs?
Nothing.
I don't think.
Well, no, I shouldn't say that. I don't know.
Above? There has to be something about it.
No, there was, in terms of breaking,
Eli Lilly, wasn't
breaking an all-time high today, on my quote board, the only things that got there was like Netflix broke one, Eli Lilly turned at it. I don't know how close it got. Eli Lilly came really close. There was a wick on, I couldn't tell because I didn't check out the wick on the chart, whether it was legitimate, but on my daily, it looks like it basically tagged the high and then reversed. So Netflix is distinctly different in a lot of ways. And that's what it's all about. You look for things that are different, but I'm looking across the board. Like I'm looking for things that are trying to break. I saw this in the chat. They're like, look at TeraWulf.
Bitcoin.
You know what's hilarious is I thought Airwolf first when someone said TeraWulf. That was
sick helicopter.
Yo, that was legit, man. Basically, all they had to do.
Airwolf.
All you had to do in the 80s, and I guess you do the same thing today, is take a successful show. And back then it was like, look at Knight Rider. They're like crime fighters or heroes or whatever, and they're in a vehicle. Right. And so someone's already done a car, throw them in a helicopter and make it really cool, and then just call it Airwolf, and everyone's going to watch it. And I watched it when I was a kid. So TeraWulf is not that. TeraWulf, however, is tearing to the upside in a very controlled fashion right now. No, it's not even that good of a pun. You don't have to hit it. It's just, it looks like a good trend. Just as far as the trade goes, there's just nothing necessarily here unless it explodes up. So yeah, if you get something like this off of VWAP or get that early dip buy, like this is a previous high, this is it opening, it dips right into the previous high, you grab it at 450, that's 445, all of a sudden you're 35 pennies in the money, you got yourself a 7-8% move, and you risked a small hair down there. That's the trade you're looking for on Wolf. Buying it at the high of the day, no. That's absolutely no. Kurt Hoffman, I pity the fool that never watched A-Team. As a matter of fact,
I pity the fool that doesn't hit the like and subscribe button.
My favorite scene is when Mr. T, I don't even remember which episode it was, but it's like just trying to show off how strong the dude is. So he's at a bench press, and he's like throwing it around because you know it's not real weight. He's like, more weight, and they just put more weight on it, and he's throwing it around like it's the exact same amount of weight. He's like, more weight. The whole time they're just adding weight, and he's throwing it like there's nothing there. Very realistic scene, I always found, because clearly you just get continuously stronger.
AI.
Because, you know, the man's not human.
AIO.
So speaking of
Come on, Nvidia,
things that aren't
honestly.
human, like now at this point, I'm not getting 38s. U.S. Steel's now down 37.76. It just continues to fall and fall and fall, and there's no end in sight. And I remember yesterday when we got out of this thing, it just continued to crater right down into about the imbalances coming out. So I think it's the same story here. Unless we get a reload or a consolidation, hold it till the imbalances and trail it, because now down 4%. We missed a chance to reload at that 38 level. Flat bottom breaks have worked every single time on this stock. Just going to hold on for dear life with this.
Oh my God, finally. Nvidia. Okay, I'm getting exhausted because this trade is like starting to pee me off a little bit. Okay, let's go home early. Done. I got a game tonight, so the recap show will be very, very quick. Who's on the recap show? Okay, Ramin. All right, good. All right, that's why she wants to go home early. All right, so there it is right now. Let's go props it up. There it goes. Finally, Nvidia. We just got that reload down there. And you know what? This is the thing. At the end of the day, not at the end of the day, but what Nvidia's been doing, you have to trade the ends. You have to trade like the tops and the bottoms. Like, so if we can get back up to here 20s, like we're going to take this out at the 50 period. We just got long at 76. So right now, let's put another offer. Boom, we'll take that. We're also at 14s now to the high side. So this has been a good little rebound trade for sure for me here on Nvidia. We waited out for this move. Now it's starting to come through. So let's see if it gets it, man. Maybe the market wants to get back up there to the upside right now. So we're trying for that. We missed out on that Mara. I got a little greedy. We should have been at 47. I'm at 46.
Where's Bitcoin?
I'd say that kind of Bitcoin is still nothing. I want to go to 48 now and take that fill. I was just saying that tongue in cheek. It's not like I was waiting for 46 for any reason. It was just in this level. I'm now looking at this and being like, oh man, we should have got 47s. When you're talking about 1 penny one way or the other, it's just like somebody just hitting a key or not. So I feel like we've hit this pretty good with the short there against, again, flipping over on the level. Oh, that super chat that I ignored from, we talked about it, but from Christina Neal there, said for me to double check my note on Google this morning. So let's just do that, whoopsies, right now and go over here and figure out what's going on. So right now, over 5,000, views right now to the sticky note. I want to thank everybody for that. All right, Google 166 long, dip into strength now that we're above the 165 support. So, okay, there's Google right here. So, all right, so yeah. Basically, that seems to be right. There's some dips early into 166, but 167 doesn't quite get there. Then a nice move up to 169. More dips bought again, 167. More dips bought, 167. So yeah, we'll change our prices tomorrow to 167, I guess. We had looked at 166. Kind of yesterday's close if we did get that fall in, but we only got 166.80. So very similar to the Mara trade we had early. It didn't hit early, but then hit late. Probably should have looked back at this for dip buy opportunities. That's basically what I take from the note was we mentioned trying to buy it on dip. So wherever you get long here, probably a loss if you're trading off VWAP right there, as that doesn't really get going, but it's definitely support. So we'll watch out for support on that name. And then we just did get it. So we switched over to 48 there, and we did get some Mara there on that dip down. 59.34, 340 right now on Bitcoin. The high's been like 59.8 or something since we've been looking at it. So we'll feel about it. But yeah, here it is right here. You are dead right about this. What's up to Girl Trader? What's up, Girl Trader? I talk about this all the time, and you're right about being impatient. But that's the thing that's really, really changed for me is putting on the bigger sizes at the levels that we really like and talking about that. So I feel like it is, yeah, very vocal. Yeah, so there we go. Let's learn not to be that way. I mean, exactly. And that's part of the thing. If you go over to and I think it has 100 and something thousand views. Hold on a second. It's this little thing right here, Girl Trader. Go read this. 147,000 views right now where we talk about not getting caught up in the moment, not having this FOMO, just giving the positive vibes, because what you put out there to the stock market sometimes will get given right back to you. And if you are impatient with it, then yeah, your outs will be impatient, and you won't be winning, waiting for those winning trades. So you do have to have a little bit of patience with it, and knowledge is the number one thing, and then patience. So I feel like you got to put on the trades, but they have to be the right trades. And
that goes for life too. Like, I mean, example, you're playing tonight. Well, I mean, by you playing tonight, that's Gia's playing tonight.
Yeah, my team.
Oh, the team's playing, right? The team, the guys, the Jets.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the Jets are playing tonight, but
we're only down. We have 2 call-ups. So.
Trading is a mental sport. It's like any other sport. You got to wait for your opportunity. You know, whether it's the right pitch, whether it's the right play, whether it's reacting to the right defense, which Justin Fields is completely unable to do. He makes the wrong read every single time. But you have to be able to have that. Not to harp on the Pittsburgh Steelers, but that's not going to go well for them. But the other thing you've got to do with
Chicago Bear QB great Justin Fields is what you're confusing.
But you got to also wait for the right level, because I'm going to get to Fubo in a quick little second. Because as you were saying that about Google, it reminded me of something that I just put down on my iPad today. I haven't traded Meta, I think, since that crazy Monday. I bought my personal account and did not do anything well. I sold some when I reached that high. But I just looked over in the middle of the day here and was like, what? Why am I not looking at Meta? This is 3 days in a row when it tries to get above $530. Once, twice, 3, and then 4 times again. I'm not saying it's going to trade up to 530 to 531 tomorrow, but if it does, you've got to try to have it. It just comes back to going to the well on names that are showing you something every single day. So with Fubo, just by the way, Fubo, which is trying to test this 205 level, it's a little bit late for a breakout trade, fair enough, but the lower high is 205. I just saw someone in the chat saying Fubo's going to $3. That's going to require a lot of patience, in my opinion, if you are going to wait for it to get to $3. I don't think it's getting there all that quickly, because this 220 level, which we said yesterday, as we're in that long in yesterday's trade, it's not a small one. There's a lot of chop in here around 220. It had a big consolidation before dumping around this 220 to 225 zone. I think it's a potential breakout play for sure. 205 would be the one now. I'd almost be inclined to look for a dip buy, because it's actually starting to accelerate in here. And there was a buyer of 100,000 that was down in and around 184 when this thing was breaking out, and they walked it up a little bit. I now see them at $1.99. And it's not a lot of shares, 100,000 shares on the bid, but it's a simple fact that I haven't actually seen this get filled as it's been walking up, and it's about the same size on the New York book here. And I haven't seen it get filled one time as they've been going higher and higher. So this looks like a good breakout continuation play. I want to see if I can get a dip buy before we head into the final 15 minutes of the day. Once you're in the final 15, I think all bets are off for Fubo. So I want to see if I can weasel in on the midpoint here. The buyer's at 199, so I don't mind taking 2.5 and then just giving it to 98 or punching out on that buyer at 99. So it's not a lot of shares there, but it provides you with an easy out at that 99 level. ARM still at the same place. I don't know if we're going to be able to get a reload on US Steel, but it's about to pop. It's actually popping up right now into the previous runoff zone, which was 37.83. So wherever I've put my trailing stop, I'm just jumping on the offer and leaving the trail in. So I'll add to it. We'll give back, like I'll add some and then maybe risk about 5 cents on what I add. But if I can be net short on this going into the end of the day, take advantage of what's been happening the last couple of days here on US Steel. Trying to get that long, should maybe go onto a free midpoint instead of like bats or something on Fubo.
All right, yeah, that thing is getting filled is a problem. We're going to, so first of all, there goes Nvidia, we will slap. And this one's, again, it's fine. Like all these outs, right? And then eventually dropping out of it. So we talked about getting those fills up there. So we did that and now it's dropping back down. So again, I switched it up. I'm over now on SockSell. I don't want to play this game anymore. We've broken below. I'm going to try to be short here just into $40.50. So let's see if this wants to go. Just breaking a little bit lower into the close. So we'll see if there's a little bit of a collapse here. We're under VWAP. We're underneath. We want to be short something that can go. We talked about being short AMD. AMD's our big stocks today are all over the place. Apple, AMD, and Tesla is my number one stock. The number one loser, we've talked about it already, is Nvidia. And that last trade didn't really hurt it or help it as that continues to go down. But Nvidia could be shorted as well. So Nvidia right here underneath VWAP. But why we'll pick the SOXL is pretty simple. Just want to be short the whole basket of them, right? I mean, if Nvidia is going to lead the way down, which it is, and this is again about reversing in, like we got stopped out on a break of 75 there. What did I, 65 or 75? Hold on a second. Well, we got filled at 66. So that break down there, so that was good. Now, possible looking to reverse, but again, too choppy. So like if you're going to reverse this, I'd rather take that play, bring it in. So right now on SOXL, we're going to try to play it off this 50 period or so, see if we can negotiate a little bit of a downside move. If we're lucky enough to get 10s there, that would be pretty cool, but we will watch out for that play coming back in on SOXL. I feel like it's worth holding it at least until 345, like getting close enough to those
closes.
Yeah, into those imbalances and see if anything is played on.
It also gives you some juice for a potential Nvidia imbalance.
Oh, yeah, Johnny Zimbabwe, we actually missed this super chat. So I went back.
Oh yeah, go for it.
$10. He's long queues. Donnie made, you put a tweet out earlier, and thank you for the super chat on that one. You were up $22,000. I don't know if that was up or flat or whatever. So that's a big day yesterday. And hopefully today, you still got some of that in your pocket. You said you're making money on Nvidia together. So that's good. It's my worst stock today. So if you're making money on that, then congratulations. But yeah, again, about that long, we talked about that with Raider Trader, thinking that today was going to be the day that potentially we collapsed out. Let's just have a quick look to see if you could have won on anything like that. Well, if you had been positioned today for a short, obviously, 8 straight up days, this could be the day where we sort of, I don't know, maybe like a doji star. Like it's what we're doing. If we can open up tomorrow and cover up this 475, then that is going to be a turning point right there on the day. And it looks like with only 20 minutes, 30 minutes left, we'll probably close in somewhere in this fashion. So it's going to look like that. And today, although the 20th may not be the right day, this could be the start of potentially a move down. And I don't think...
We're not up.
Not up. And I don't want to say anything about anybody's positions, but we have Jackson Hole coming through as well. So if there's going to be a catalyst, as we had Justin talk about this, it could be that exactly coming through. With Jackson Hole coming the next couple of days, with Fed speak on Friday or Thursday and Friday, that could spin this market around a little bit. I feel like we had that speak today and not much happened.
No.
Although it was a little choppy.
But Jackson Hole's a bigger deal. Powell matters more than everybody else. I think everyone understands that. I got to answer this question from Matt Carnes because you're asking about Kellanova here. Thoughts on K, testing week's highs from earnings. So Kellanova is being bought at, I believe, $83.50. I'll double check that. Just give me a second. I have something I can always look at. Make sure I got that right. Yeah, $83.50 cash. That was a recent deal that just got announced for Kellanova. So this is why the stock looks like this. I know if you don't know that they're being bought and this is a deal, then yeah, does that not look like, hey, it could just be like earnings and consolidation and then it's going to break out? But your upside becomes very limited. And a lot of what happens till a deal closes, you see this with US Steel with a massive spread because they think it might not close. They think this one has a good chance of getting through regulatory approvals and antitrust and all that. So it's definitely being priced more reasonably like this deal is going to happen. Limited upside in this. The more I look at it, it's like this was very tradable today on 3.5 million worth of volume because, if it's just going to slowly grind up, unless there's something drastic that happens, it was in a consolidated phase where you just scalp it inside of the range when it's doing a few million a day. If you have direct market access, which we do, you could have been buying dips in here. These are solid 10-cent moves where your downside risk is a little bit smaller. The thing about trading like this is, when you trade stocks like this, and I've done it a long time, it's like a high win rate. Like you'll win like 90-something days out of 100. But the idea is that the day that it moves, it's not about not losing on that day. It's about losing as little as possible. Because if you're aggressive inside of a tight range on a stock like this and it breaks out of the range, well, everyone's doing the same thing. And it can dry up and you get absolutely rinsed. So your job is on that one day out of like 50 that you lose, don't lose the entire boat. Know where you're going to be getting out. but I'm not involved in that one. 330 just hit. ARM is trying desperately to roll over into 129. Again, took a couple of shots at these with tight stops. Finally, it came into that double close level, which is 130.5. We got the short there. U.S. Steel also working into the downside. Those are the two things we're in. But the early look imbalances, a whole lot of Southwest Airlines.
Yeah.
2.5 million to sell. Visa's a 1 million sell. NU, I feel like there was an imbalance the other day on NU. Could be wrong about that, but I think there was. So I guess Southwest would be the one indicating to us that there might be a little something there. But it was a good question on that Kellanova, because if you don't know what's a deal, that looks like it's just a great stock that could be breaking out. Limited upside. Not that you can't trade it, you just can't trade it the way you're used to.
I mean, SOXL, finally, there's the trade. It's that exact trade we talked about. We talked about it with Neil. We talked about it with Justin. And
Because we had a Justin here.
yeah. I should have known his name there. I did remember his name. I was going to say his last name first, and I was like, no. All right, so there it is, man. So this is the reversal. There's SOXL. So, I mean, boom. Again, I just like the function of this a little bit better. Obviously shorting Nvidia. Nvidia has been bad to me. It looks very, very similar, where you have VWAP, you have the break, you have the low break there. But this name's been frustrating, so I just went right over to something that I knew was going to follow it, or not new, but we've made a lot of money with AMD shorting today. This is a $5 winner, by the way. And we talked about that earlier. That's 159.50. That goes down to 154.40. We wind up getting out at 156. So we only take 350 on it, but a huge move down. And we knew that we kind of liked that talk there for AMD and for the market. So we go over and do that there on SOXL. So I don't know. Let's just take another piece out here at 18 if we can get that bidding 18. And there it is again. So yeah, as you can see, we're pretty happy with some of this trading today on SOXL and on AMD. The only stock we're red on is going to be Nvidia. And that's so frustrating. Too many trades. You know how many fills we have on Nvidia today? 132, which is about 100 too many for sure on Nvidia today. We could have got away from this, but hey, this is what today is, man. It's up, it's down, and it's around. We've got the winners here with Mara. We had a great trade. I mean, this Tesla trade was huge. All these shorts were huge. P&L number one by 5 times. Well, actually, it's only 3 times this Apple trade. And Apple was a great long until we lost it right there before it went all the way back up. So, yeah, a little bit of a frustrating day, but not overly frustrating. Just something where if we held on to some of these just a bit longer on both sides, we would have been a lot more comfortable with our P&L. Right here, there it is. Nice move down right there for SOXL. We took that 18s recently. So now we'll wait to see what comes through here. It's like an up and down and around day today for me. So up, down, around. And then now we'll have to wait to see if we do get some action here into the close. But barring that, a pretty flat day overall.
One of my favorite artists has like a chorus of a song like that, but I can't drop it because it's like, it's a baby making song, which is kind of inappropriate. But so I did the average into US Steel and the next consolidation available, and my stop is going to be right in here. We have like 87 price. That's just an average because we have shares from over there. But now we're looking at if it breaks this consolidation up, we're out. Look to see if we can hold it into the close. ARM is still holding in the money, and I want one last shot to reload it off of these lower highs, which is probably coming in right now as we speak. Like these lower highs in here, I'm going to try and jump. I'm on the offer. And with ARM, you have to because the spread has been, it gets 15 cents at a time. So if I'm sitting there, I don't want to move. I'd rather just try to get picked up. Like you just saw it just spiked. I'm sitting at 10s and it spiked to like 8s. I'm just kind of leaving the order in there. You might get picked up. It's very tempting to close the spread on this. If I don't get the fill in the next couple seconds, I probably am just going to close the spread. At least by a couple of pennies to try and grab a fill there. That's just how it is sometimes when the market is like this and not moving an absolute ton. Like it'll go to the levels and then it doesn't give the fills.
This is the most frustrating thing. We just talked about this. I mean, we'll just go
Seriously?
again, but the frustrating thing continues. And I don't, regardless of how this trade ends up, it's just, to me, it's funny that we just talked about it, how we're going to go up, down, and around. And then it's like a good trade turns into a bad trade. Then it turns into a good trade. And you just hope at the end of the day you're sitting in it. I mean, SOXL we were just celebrating it. We just was like bang, bang, bang. And then all of a sudden this happens. So yeah, it reloads us up there. Let's start taking some out and not let greed get the better of us. Right there. Man, we should be trading ETFs a heck of a lot more. Honestly, the reads that we've had on the futures and on these ETFs have just been so good. Meanwhile, I mean, the stocks have been great, not great to Nvidia. But the reason why I say ETFs is just you take away that single stock risk, which is hence the creation of ETFs. And like, look at that. It just comes right back in and right back up again. The problem with Nvidia, to me, and it's not a problem when it's right, is to see what just happened right there. Look at that wick. We were just down here at 40s. It ripped up, ripped all the way to 80s there before falling. Now, if you blink in that last minute, you would have missed 21 cents. And honestly, when you're trading shares, like if you're trading whatever, 15, like whatever share size you want, it's up to you. But when you get that 20 or 30 cent move, it's like you're not going to be holding even like a couple hundred shares. It's like that move right there, $60, 60 bucks. Like those start cutting you up. And it's like, it's not worth it to have these stops this tight when this is what the range looks like. So we got chewed up there. We learned our lesson. And part of trading is learning lessons. And I mean, we talk about that all the time on the show. And there's one that I just learned. We went back over into the ETF land and hit it again. Not only have we been having success on ETFs, but we go over there today and flip it over to SOXL, which looks to be another successful little run here. But again, we could still get stopped out, but we're taking profits. We're now out of half of that reload.
Bring on down to ETFville. It's exhausting. You know what? When the market's like that, that's what it is. And the NASDAQ's doing this to you here. We don't have a big range this afternoon. You're running out of time for there to be like this big run into the imbalances. Doesn't mean there can't be a move after them. But look at this range. We got 20 points, 25 if I'm being generous on the NASDAQ, whatever it happens to be on the ES. So, last couple of last-ditch efforts here, reloads on names that were kind of coming down and getting lower highs because I'm tightening up the stops going to 350. So tighten the stop to over 10s, get some in front of the 130, and did the same thing with US Steel, which are both just riding into the downside. But as that's happening, it's not just I know we look at a lot of different names here today. There's one name that only one person looked at today, and, well, I shouldn't say one person on the show looked at today. That was Adara. People in the chat have been talking about SMCI for a hot minute. I want to get the idea our viewers don't look at this stock. But there's something that I wanted to point out, because I don't know if she's listening right now, but there was an absolute trap job at the $600 level, and now SMCI is breaking out at $615. That's a widowmaker if you're caught short. But if you take a 600 break, I remember like an 800 break where if you got the fill, it was the easiest $20 move ever. That's a big if you got the fill. So that's worth it if it goes down. But if you're stubborn about this stock, you're wrong here when you risk a couple of bucks. It's not good at that point. All you got to do is get out and then avoid this kind of a move. SMCI looking strong going into a close, which isn't moving whatsoever. So that $600 level, this could be interesting tomorrow for some kind of I don't know if we're going to have a rally tomorrow, but if we do, SMCI is consolidating. And when it consolidates, the breaks are gigantic, generally speaking, on this stock. I think you got to watch out for those. We always talk about shorting tops and bottoms and how crazy that can be. If you short the top or going long bottoms or tops and going short bottoms, you have to have a quick trigger in and out. I will never take a break of a high a day without a predetermined exit plan. And it's the same thing with shorting a low. Risk 10 cents on Intel to do it today in case it flushed. But if you just held on to it, you got rinsed. So my stop is now 130, just above the 10 level on ARM. Pretty much the same thing on X, US Steel, I should say. Airy Pages, I have to respect how you guys follow an LFT loss from top system. Super wise strategy, protecting profits, minimizing loss. That's something that's implemented at Real Trading. It was around the LFT where you can be stopped out for your net loss allowed on the day, and then you can be stopped out for your loss from your highest point on the day as well. And that's every single trader's is different based on performance, but that's something that was around when I started 20 years ago. I'm pretty sure LFT was there when you started just over 20 years ago. I know I'm 21 in September, so 23, I think, something like that, 22, 23. So yeah, it's been around for a while. It's a system that's there, and it's a good one. But remember, when you're trading someone else's money, you trade by their rules. When you're trading at home, I think it's a good rule to have, but you'd have to enforce it yourself. Ours is enforced on the platform, which is a huge benefit to us.
Yeah, it is, especially, you know, as you are looking at other traders as well, right? I mean, it's like you're trying to manage a whole floor of traders, so you don't want to get too excited. But yeah, prop trading is much different than trading your own capital. So that's the one thing you have to remember about that. Okay, 344, we're getting ready for those imbalances to see if they do come through at any point right now. All right. Normally I go over the floor, but it's not a great day for the floor, so we'll pass on reviewing that. But if you guys know that I'm passing on reviewing that, you should probably know why, as we do talk about it all of the time. But okay, so Mara, let's see what happens. We just got a bid at 50, so we'll see if that's coming in there for 50. SOX L, I'm not going to average in, but we just got some more fills there at 24s and 25s. So we'll wait to see if that comes through. Nvidia's trying to come in a little bit right now. So let's hope that is that, and we'll figure it out on SOX L. AMD Palantir, a quick little look at, we were short Palantir there, but it does take its move all the way basically back to that kind of same level that we had talked about earlier at 32.50. So let's see if that is a move back in. Join me and Brian Shannon tonight on the recap show. We just sort of tweeted that out. It's getting a lot of love. I mean, he gets a lot of love when he comes on. So here it is here. Alpha Trends will be with me tonight. Brian Shannon will be talking all about the different VWAP strategies and just whatever.
We got for
that's what we do. I think
Target
tonight?
No, tomorrow morning is after.
Yeah, let's go. Do we have the earnings board?
Oh,
I know it's Toll Brothers.
Toll Brothers, and no, you have the button.
What?
Data.
Oh, that's tonight? I have this button.
Dada.
Okay, little Chinese data coming through there, so we'll check those guys out. Toll Brothers, Cody, and that's about it. So,
although data is at 6 p.m.
Abracadabra. All right, Applied Materials. Why don't we have that on the list? All right, Sigma.
No, that's not right.
Abracadabra gone.
AMAT already reported. They reported like a week ago. Can
I do that to my losing trades?
No,
Abracadabra. Bye-bye losing trades.
You know what's hilarious? You say abracadabra, and the first thing that comes to mind is Half Baked with Dave Chappelle.
I'll have to see.
Like straight up.
I'll have to
abracadabra.
I'll have to rewatch that one if there's a funny scene in that about that.
Samson Simpson, a stick by my story. I am from Jamaica. If I was not from Jamaica, why would I wear this hat? That's one of my. I love that movie. I could quote it so much. And you know, you got to do that movie the right way. I'm just saying, if you're into it, but to each their own. Legitimate, and this is before Dave Chappelle was even
doing every
famous,
movie the right way. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes that's what you got to do. Like you watch Train, you know, not to get into it, but like Friday.
No, the name of the movie doesn't matter.
You know, I'm talking about certain movies.
I'm talking about all movies. All right, so Toll Brothers, a huge move up.
That's a big one.
You know, nice move over the last little while. We are bouncing off the 50-period moving average. Again, home builders, not super sexy, but we could get a nice move to break higher. I think the implied move today is in and around 5% for Toll Brothers. Let me just double check that right now and get back to you. Its last move, I think, was 5%. So right now, Toll Brothers, we are expecting, its previous move was 8.5% down. So right there, I guess. So nice move down there back in May. Now we'll figure out what's happening in August for Toll Brothers. Expected move 6 points. So we'll see 6% on Toll Brothers coming through again. All right, so with 347, I was actually going to look at the imbalances one more time, but this is without the NASDAQ. So you're going to see some of these right now. LUV coming through, Southwest. Visa right now that's 1 million. That's funny that it shows
exactly
1,000K. So one more share one way and it should adjust. NU, we talked about New Bank. That one's really, or New Holdings, that's really had a nice move up off earnings. Look at this move. I mean, talk about the NASDAQ being up 8 straight days. So does this go. There's our SOX L. Again, no reload. We take a little piece out. And again, this is the frustrating day that we talk about, man. It's like, it's there, then it's not. There's SOX L. So was a nice little win for us. And then eventually took it down. Those were good. And then that reload was good until it's not. And there's the break lower now or higher for SOXL. So yeah, a little frustrating there, but that's okay. As we go.
And predictably.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I mean, if SOXL went, 130.10 went on ARM, it's heading right back into the upside. So as one chip goes up, one of the chip names goes up, the ETF goes up as well. So I'm still in US Steel, but I feel like we reloaded this one pretty much at the lows, off the lows when we had this one above the 38 level, but it's trying to take out that local top. If it does, I'm jumping out of it. My stop is right here. There's a decent chance the imbalances will come out and then run it regardless, but I'm always going to have a trailing stop. Whether I added to this or not, I'd have a stop at these levels. And as a matter of fact, you know what? I'm not going to let it get to the imbalances. Like if I'm giving it to that high and it's running into it, I'm just going to punch out and not get slipped anymore. Add it off those bottoms, just going to jump out of the trail. Like it's showing me that it's wrong. And the other thing when you notice here we cancel those orders, and why are they still there? Here we go. Oh, okay. Stuck orders. But the other thing about this is that was a pretty big volume candle reversal on US Steel. So it didn't immediately run higher, in a big way, but it is certainly grinding higher off a big reversal on US Steel. That said, I feel no ways about this tomorrow. If it does the same setups, I'm just going to look for shorts on the stock. Every time it's a flat bottom break, I'm taking the flat bottom break until it stops. Imbalances are now out. Yeah,
imbalances came out about 20 seconds ago. So we'll see. Microsoft's a big buy. Intel's a big buy. Apple's a big buy. Amazon's a big buy. The NASDAQ shot up. So this is what can happen there. Nice little shoot up here and then a fade back down. So they're all coming as buys. It appears like Microsoft, again, trying to come through. Looks like look at that gap. So this is the problem, right? 424 gaps higher to 525 in change on that buy. Intel does not gap higher. Apple gap and come back right there. Oh man, it's too bad. We were trying to get short there on Mara and just missed that one. Our friend Nvidia, the same thing. Look at this play. Gaps basically higher up again and then fades out. So yeah, man, LUV Southwest holds the bid, but this doesn't seem like it's a big mover at all. It actually goes down on that. So Intel, Microsoft, looks like Microsoft was the big one. So that continues to go upside. Hit the like and subscribe if you want to continue to see the imbalance locator. Hit that like, hit the subscribe, and get reminded that we are live every single day. So Google with a buy. We like that play again. Look at the shoot up. Like if you're short here or long, it goes all the way up there about 30 cents and fades right back in, and now looks like it wants to take that bottom out. This is actually not a horrible spot to maybe go short as well. You're running right into that. As you're trying to break lower, 167.43, a good little break spot there. We're still short Mara, and that's all. Maybe put a bid here at 52 and see if we can get something out.
Yeah, so just very quickly, I did not mean to go long on US Steel. I just have a couple of orders that were stuck, and when I filled to get out, it didn't indicate that I was out, so I just kind of hit it again, but those orders were live. So I reverse long, got out flat, and then still have a couple of orders that are showing on the bid, but I show them as canceled, so as far as I'm concerned, they're not out on the market. But with only about 8 minutes to go in here, you are going to have not a lot in terms of earnings, but there's certainly a lot to look at. And one of those, only because I'm flat now, and we haven't talked enough about one of the strongest stocks in the market. And of course, I say that it's going to lose VWAP, and that's Palo Alto. So PanW does eventually do the break that we were excited about, but I wanted to make sure that we got this in. Remember, PanW had a huge move down. Remember, everyone bought 260s and was like, yay, everybody in the 50, 200 period moving average, and Nancy Pelosi loved that level. Well, 375 was the resistance when this all happened, and it went nasty. Well, where do you think it got to today? $375. So what's the key level tomorrow on PanW? $375.
Oh my God.
Right there on an absolute dime. Exactly where the top was before on the daily when it had that flush is where it still is. So I'm pretty sure, yeah, whatever. Like, yeah, I just got punched out of ARM, and ARM just made the same reversal off resistance that it did before. So I know you're looking at SOXL there. This is what I'm looking at. ARM went right up to the same resistance after the imbalances came out, and then just dumps right back in if you shorted off that same level. Only 6 minutes to go. I'm not going to be doing it. Plus, you know, if I just had a couple of stuck orders, no need to trade something at the end of the day.
All right, we're doing well there. Yeah, let's SOXL. Like we just get stopped out ahead of that number. We talked about that. It's very, very risky to be in there today into SOXL. So there's a nice push back down. But you know what we're doing good on is Mara. We should have, I mean, I was waiting at 63. Honestly, it goes to 62. But not sitting around waiting for an order to fill at the end of the day is risky. It's too bad we didn't get it, though, because we were there. I'm also looking at, honestly, a break of Google. I thought Google could break this level here, 43s, and then get to the downside. So I waited for 40s. Let's see if that does break. And if it does, I just want to give this back to like 55 or something, just to see for this last second breakdown here of Google, if we could take that level. I know, it might not be the thing, but if this NASDAQ wants to collapse in a little bit here, we can have a look at Google. Nvidia has really, really fallen down again. So there it goes, downside. I mean, stocks out continues to go. But there's Nvidia trying to break lower as well. The big trade of the day is going to be on AMD, obviously, as we shorted there and covered here our last little bit, 350. A bunch of shorts in there to the downside. So that's going to be a good stock for me. My number one name, though, is Tesla, as we've talked about that with these shorts, these longs. So we really hit Tesla quite well today. 225, 222.50. Just bounced off right there. Let me just check back. I mean, Mara is going now finally, so that's going to be a good trade for us. And it looks like Google, I feel like we may have to do the right thing here, and that is probably chill with this. Oh, there it goes. It just
balance is just flipped.
And we did not. Oh, it did not fill on Google there. Okay, so my order did go out. I only crossed down to 38s there, so I don't know why that didn't fill, but there goes Google. Nice downside move. We'll cancel it. We should have been short.
Yeah, LUV flipped from a sell to a buy. So it was one. Southwest was like the big imbalance. It wasn't even that big. It was like 1.5 million to sell or 1.6. It flipped to a buy imbalance of 1 million. So that was the big mover. Visa's there, but it doesn't really matter. Ultimately, the market's starting to head right back into the downside. It looks like down here with only 4 minutes to go. Someone just mentioned what's going on with Oxy. Energy's down. Energy's down, XOM's having a rough day, Occidental's having a rough day, and these are all testing pretty big support levels, triple bottom here on energy. And we talked about this with Justin as well. A lot of these, whether you want to give it to the convention and people waiting around and maybe pricing in a different outcome, energy's been under some pressure. Geopolitical concerns not really bouncing at this time.
I mean, little bang. Yeah, so we missed that punch short. Like, can't believe we missed it. But we still get a little bit of it. It goes down to 25s. We take some out. We just took out 40%, like for 10 cents. Yuck, because when we miss it, it goes. But anyways, now we'll see here. Hopefully we can get a little bit of a lower bid here into 167 and change. Let's see if it wants to work. We'll see about a downside push now for Google, hopefully into the close. Hey, look, man, at least we went over this trade. At least we talked about breaking that level right there. We should be 25 cents, 20 cents in the money, but unfortunately did not get filled, so we had to take a lower fill right now. We didn't do that on as many shares. Because when you miss the fill, you miss the fill. You can just move off of that. All right, so bang, we did not miss the fill here. All right, big time trading for Mara. So there comes Mara right back in. That's 17 cents now. We'll figure that out. The closing bell now has a time count on it.
The countdown is on till the end of the day here. That's we right. Like it.
I like that.
That way, don't have to look over at the clock that I have to get the countdown button. I can just look at our program monitor. I mean, it's essentially the same thing. I like it. Always trying to make it a little bit nicer, a little bit better. Shout out to Fabian and Ramin for that as well. So my hands are off. Even if there wasn't a bounce trade I wanted, if I have stock orders at any point in the last little bit, not going to trade. I think it's all cleared up right now, but yeah, we'll just take a quick look to see what happens in these last 2 or 3 minutes. Eyes are going to be, for myself, on like the Southwest and then Nvidia, because those are the two places that I'm generally going to look at the end of the day. Something with an imbalance, just see where they close, and Nvidia, because Nvidia is Nvidia.
All right, Google, there it goes, man. Again, really happy, really proud to at least give some of these trading ideas to you guys here at the end of the day, and they've paid off, really. It's just a matter of finally catching a movement here. And there goes Google to the downside. We already had that SOXL trade. We've talked about Nvidia. But yeah, so far so good, to be honest with you here, as we still sit and hit some trades. There goes Google. Let's go. All right. Barber almost back. We'll get a haircut soon. All right, so there's Google, man. Good trading at the end of the day. 20 cents in the money here. There it is for Google. So let's just see if it continues to make that move lower. It's only 20 minute 20 left there, but it's a push down in 20 cents. I mean, it's another profitable stock for us, so that's going to be good here. And then we actually were able to basically get everything out on Mara, where we just have a small piece left. I was actually waiting for 36s for that last piece. Not really sure why, so let's just now bid them all out right here. Oh, actually, I canceled my bids on Mara. Let's get that, and let's cancel our more short on Google, because that doesn't really matter. It's a 20-cent winner now plus on Google. So that's part of it. There we go. We get the Mara trade, so that's out. Boom on that one. That's going to be a good trade. And then at the end of the day, there it is right there. Bang. Right into the downside for Google, making some money back here in the last couple seconds. Now 25 cents in, hopefully getting a little bit lower. We might as well cancel all of that. Good trading for Mara, obviously, at the end of the day. There it is. I'll just show you that last little out. So again, short, out at the bottom. I mean, that's pretty much as good as I can do it on Mara. We did get taken some out there, but we do get right back in for MARA. So with only 15 seconds left, Adara, you're going to get ready to rock and roll. I'm going to put a bid out here on Google, take my 40 cents, and run on GOOGL.
Boom, and we got it in, no, 3, 2, and 1, ring it. You know what's hilarious? Like, yeah, that was interesting timing there, but the market is now obviously closed, as you guys can tell.
Early or late?
No, it doesn't really matter. I mean, you guys know when 4 o'clock hits, 4 o'clock hits. The market might close, but you still have aftermarket trading. You've got earnings aftermarket today, which we can expect. We got Toll Brothers. Now, obviously, we don't have data until 6 o'clock, so you guys won't be able to cover that in the aftermarket show, but it is going to be about Toll Brothers. The NASDAQ ends up in the red, so maybe the start of something. We don't know. It's only a 0.17 day on the NASDAQ. So yes, down, not anything crazy. Bit of a sideways afternoon, easy to get chopped up. Try to avoid doing it. The ES down 0.13. Nothing incredibly drastic. Wasn't a very good day for energy. There were some things that were a lot weaker than others. The energy names taking it a little bit on the chin there. I just wrote down Oxy 55 for myself on a note, because I want to make sure that I see that one tomorrow, the way energy came into the downside. So I just want to give a big shout out. You know, Fabian and Remain, while switching the 1s and 2s, getting us that new little countdown counter, which is a lot of fun there. Shout out, of course, to Adara and Sharif on the midday Learn to Trade, learning about some different types of moving averages that aren't just the exponential and the simple, which, to be honest, I didn't know about myself. So always get your learn on every single day. That's what this channel's about. Great community. And of course, want to appreciate our guest today, Justin Zach's doing a great job there over at Mumu. Lots of knowledge dropped. So if you missed it, you can always wait till the aftermarket show is finished and then go back and rewind. A lot of insightful stuff. We want to thank him for coming on here. But you know what time it is. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is sit back, let it roll over, and if it doesn't, then make sure you jump right back in. You don't have to roll over. You're just going to go right over to the desk. We got the market recap. We've got Toll Brothers earnings. We've got special guest Brian Shannon of Anchored VWAP fame and Sean and Adara. Go get them.
I was muted. I said Brian Shannon, of course, our guest, and famous from Trader TV Live, although that is not true whatsoever. We do have his book right here, Anchored VWAP. So join us with Brian Shannon coming up very soon. Man, we got that Google trade right at the end of the day. That was a nice little 30-cent winner, and we get filled there in the after hours. So again, you are welcome for that, which was a very, you heard me not say too much about the floor today. Was not the greatest day. There are not too many green traders, maybe none at all.
Yeah.
But we will not discuss that live there because the market today gives up 8 straight days of victorious movements to the upside and now goes just slightly red down today, down 0.16. So we did talk about Raider Trader today, looking for a nice downside move. It looks like the Qs today agrees a little bit, 0.17. Look, yesterday we had Michael on the show and we couldn't find any red sectors. Today we look and it's almost a complete opposite. Yesterday red was USO, gold was red, some of the mining was red. That was it. Now, today you get URA, which is, of course, uranium. So we are talking about energy there. Gold up today, silver, real estate, and I don't know what FDN is Internet Index Fund right there. Look, we talked about this with our guest today, Justin, and the thing was Justin Zach from Mumu there, VP of Strategy. Some sectors that possibly could be in touch now with the DNC. Now, the problem is, I guess we didn't get too much weed talk over the last couple of days there, as MSOS down 6%. China down today, down pretty good, man, 4. Whenever China goes down, you are probably going to get oil to the downside. Of course, oil, big, huge into the manufacturing aspect. So oil downside. If we're going to get problems in China and possible recession fears, watch out for the price, obviously, of energy. One of my favorite things to own is XLE, and that also has a nice downside move. Yeah, we had earnings today, of course. The big one was PanW, so we saw that go. We've got our new AirPods in today, so we'll be able to hear any breaking news from Benzinga as well. So when that comes out, we're looking for Toll Brothers. But look at Palo Alto. Great move. It actually winds up close to its expected move. We are looking for 9%. When we were on in the midday, it was up almost 9%. Here's what it looks like on the minute chart. Nice pullback there today for PanW into the close. But you have to be happy. Here's a 3-minute chart. You have to be happy with this movement today. Of course, CrowdStrike gave us all a little bit of a scare. Was it a scare or was it a great buy the dip moment today or not today? During that move for CrowdStrike as it comes back into 200. Anybody that knows anything about cybersecurity was saying CrowdStrike still has the goods. It's just that was a rough movement to the downside there. And you could see, man, nice move back up for CRW. As Fabian tells me, yeah, maybe CrowdStrike isn't all that it's built up to be, and it seems like that might be the case. Remember today, we said at the beginning of the day, I said, look, Nvidia probably the day not to go long was the day that Nvidia winds up against the market, and it started early today. Nvidia started making a move down. The NASDAQ was up early when Nvidia was down, so we should have only be looking for shorts for Nvidia, and it turns out that that was right. The 200 period today, real great movements for NVDA, up to 129.50, that there's the pushback. We are now a week and 1 day away, Adara, for CrowdStrike earnings, for Nvidia earnings. There's lots to come.
And Salesforce and Affirm and HPQ.
Salesforce. You know what? Salesforce is a name that we haven't looked back.
Crim.
What?
CRM. Crim.
Crim?
Crim.
Let's just call it CRM for now.
I was just joking.
I saw your SMCI. What were you calling that?
Okay, that was Sharif. Sharif started that.
Okay,
it's
I'm going to punch him in
McKee.
the face when I
And then now, oh, dear Lord. And I can't say SMCI properly anymore because then my brain just wants to add us.
It is a bit long. I do appreciate the shortening of the names.
Yeah, it's kind of fun, right? Like,
I feel like it's fun.
but yeah, Sharif and I have literally come up with names for how.
Try to have fun. I like
yeah, good times.
around.
Go show.
I've just never heard that on SMCIs. That's a good one. All right, look at Salesforce. Actually, this is one to be talked about, to be honest with you, because Salesforce, as you just mentioned and well put, August 28th earnings. Look at this top we're at for Salesforce. Oh boy, I like this long breaking through 266. I mean, looky. What do we have here, Salesforce? Bumping up on the 200 period. I like this for a potential breakthrough there. I mean, I don't know. We could talk about anchored VWAP. We do have the man coming on right now. There it is. Let's drop it on that high. There's the anchor. Oh boy, again, we are right at that anchored VWAP. That is this purple line. And if we zoom in, there it is right now, closing today at the anchor. Salesforce, a very, very interesting name. Maybe we will talk to Brian about that. You could also drop another one right here. Cody apparently is out maybe right now. The other anchor right here. We are right at anchored VWAP support and resistance right now on Salesforce. So a good look there, Adara. All right, you just let me know if there's any earnings out that are popping through. We are looking.
They're all expected at 4:30, like Tolls and Cody.
All right, so Toll Brothers at 4:30.
Keys is out. We got Keys.
All right, we'll look at Keys in just a minute. But for now, today, you can see both the S&P and the 500 chopped around. We talked about that today, basically throughout the day, before finally making a little bit of a move down there into the close. Mag 7 names like Tesla down here and Nvidia really lead the way. Look at Broadcom down 1.05. Look at the banks, BAC down 2.47. Even Bitcoin today could not hold that 60,000 level. So Bitcoin to the downside. See if Fabian, that was a nice give up there by Bitcoin. Catalyst-driven names today include PanW. We saw that. And then where's Eli Lilly? Right there, Eli Lilly with that nice move on positive study results for its weight loss drug and other uses there. Small cap names including RR and INDO lead the way as well. Feds Bowman commented that there's still some upside risks, which may have sent this market reeling. Man, oh man, Adara, this Walmart huge, Home Depot. We'll wait for Target and whatnot with Coke, P&G and Pepsi all leading the way. Just looking for some green names, Visa as well, Thermo Fisher, Merck. We like XLV. We've talked about that over and over again. And then what about Netflix? Netflix today, guys, really leading the way for all these big tech names. Netflix. I was saying this, and I'm not sure, maybe there's a name that you could think of. Is there a name right now that we often cover that's at its all-time highs? So I think Netflix is going to be that name. We did
Lily's close.
Lily's there. Lily was there within a couple bucks today. Meta, another name that's right there at 544. Another name, if you come to the screen, that looks like it's been up and away. We'll see about getting filled on Meta up near those highs. If it does have a day tomorrow, that would be Meta. Nothing else really that I can really think of. If you guys are in the chat, let me know if there's a name that we are missing here. K-Web, again, internet names downside as China puts in some sort of curbs there to try to, tariffs, right? Back and forth with Tesla.
Yeah, and they're also, we're not releasing the foreign fund flows data every day because they're trying to basically make sentiment higher. It's the same as how they curb short selling. It's kind of the same practice, but I guess the market not reacting nicely.
Yeah, I would say that you got to watch out for this. China ETF big cap names have really retraced back up. I look at FXI now pushing back in. The one name that I can think about there, you just put it in there, Roger, as well, Walmart. Yeah, Walmart at all-time highs and breaking higher. I love that Walmart quarter. They had an absolutely fantastic one. As we get a little more worried about the market, maybe rates coming back into play again. So we'll look at the 20-year Treasury with the TLT. Nice uptick today. Looking again at the TLT, nowhere near highs. I mean, if you're looking for some kind of value here, maybe the TLT coming through again, trying to take out some of this. We'll ask Brian if he has any thoughts about TLT. For me, looking at this, that $100 break right there looks pretty good. That goes back to December highs just before the end of the year. But yeah, another name there, good call. You guys nailed this, man. There's gold higher. We do talk about gold sometime. If you want the gold miners, that continues to go higher, breaking out as well. IWM, of course, some of the Russell names look to be fine, but I think in this rate picture, you're going to want to buy any dips in this. So I feel like we might need to get long IWM or the S&P 600, something like that, as we pull back for rates. Because if the rates are exactly going to be cut, we do know that Canada, I think Canada's next week, or what did Justin say? Coming up, Canada trying to force their hand on another rate cut. We're the first big nation to cut, and we'll hope to get that follow through again and again as we got to renew the mortgage. So we're hoping for a little bit of a lower rate on that as well. USO led to the downside today. We'll get crude oil tomorrow as crude oil inventories come Wednesday at 10:30. So we'll look for a play on oil and crude as we drop down one more time. You mentioned getting keys earlier.
Yeah, we have keys, right?
Yeah, is that Keysight Technology?
Keysight, yeah.
So nice little move right there. Nice move up, now up 8%. If you're in this name, you could see this was aggressive move up right there. Anything significant on this report? I mean, you're trying to break a little bit higher, now above the 50 period and the 200?
It was a really nice beat here, especially for earnings per share. They reported adjusted earnings of $1.57 per share. Analysts were looking for $1.35, so that's quite the beat. Our sales are here, revenue also a beat. $1.217 billion versus estimates of $1.94 billion. Their guidance was basically in line with estimates, so nothing bad there. The upper ends of both their EPS and revenue guidance ranges for fiscal Q4 were above estimates, but the lower ranges were slightly below.
Okay, so good little look on that. If and when we get Toll Brothers, we'll
4:30.
Yeah,
it'll be a while.
That's not. We've had Toll Brothers on before. I believe it's come. I don't know if it was Toll Brothers or DR Horton or something like that. It doesn't come with too much excitement, to be honest with you. The home builders very much as expected, as they can see their order books and everything. So we'll wait to see what happens with home builders. An exciting name today, of course, Eli Lilly. Again, thank you for joining us. Make sure you hit that like and that subscribe as we wait on for Brian to come through. Yeah, we'll refresh tip. I'm going to show you what the highest traders are making right now as well here at Real Trading. We'll get that to you in just a minute. Market pullback from the 20th of August. So here's Adam. Shout out to Adam. We won't do roll call right now, but I met Adam there in London. Very, very smart dude. Going to be coming here. And Adam, by the way, like the US or the Canadian dollar as opposed to British pound, like you're going to make a lot of money just by simply spending money here. And like whatever cost there in London, $7 for a pint or something like 7 pounds. It's still $7 a pint here, but it's 1.7 or 1.8 times the cost in London for the exchange rate that it is here. You're going to really like it joining us in Toronto. He says, Raider Trader said last week, markets will pull back from the 20th of August to today. Raider Trader said last week, markets pull back from the 20th August. Okay, so we'll start to see now a potential pullback right now. And again, seasonality. He talked about that. Plus, I think Jackson Hole is going to be something that's going to be important coming through, as we'll hear exactly what Powell's thinking about. And you get a little bit of different questions being asked there. So we'll get a more broader look on the economy come Thursday, I believe is when he speaks. Or maybe that's Friday.
He speaks on Friday at 10 a.m.
Okay, Friday at 10 a.m. Okay, so really early Friday. We'll get a look. There's Eli Lilly taking out all-time highs today. It looks like you're coming within $1 of that anyways. There it is, 966. Looks like that was touched before falling back. Wow, that fell back to almost $20 there off of that level. So we do have a nice little position there in Eli Lilly. So we'll have to watch to see if that breaks a little bit more than that. For me, I'm almost thinking, look, I love the stock. We've talked about that over and over again. But XLV, if you're thinking that Eli Lilly is potentially a little bit overextended and you want to play catch up with some other names, definitely XLV, you can rotate out. It's the highest holding is Eli Lilly in this position. But if you're thinking that, hey, maybe we're a little overextended on that, so that. All right, Pan W, just a quick little look again here. Nice move again for Pan W, hitting the all-time or close to those highs of 380 again today. Doing anything in the after hours? Not really, just a nice little fade down there for that. So, yeah, data dependent everything. Now, I feel like the Fed's going to talk a lot about that. You know, a guest of ours that is very data dependent, Brian Shannon. Let's bring him on.
That's a good transition, Sean.
Thank you. Oh, he's there already. That was quick. Oh, what's up, Brian? Yeah, you just heard me talk a little bit about data. Going into Jackson Hole this week, Thursday and Friday, we're expecting to get a little bit of action there. Looks like we finally might have got that doji star on the daily for the Qs today. Finally starting to make, oh, that's not the daily here, Brian. Trying to make that 8 days in a row. And then I don't know what you call this. I don't know if it's red or not, but it looks red to me, down 0.13. Are we turning now? What do you think about these markets? And welcome to the recap show once again, my friend, Mr. Brian Shannon.
Good afternoon. Yeah, I think we had a little bit of just consolidation so far. It's not quite ready to roll over. I think it's maybe going to frustrate people for a couple days, and who knows, maybe the Jackson Hole is the catalyst for a little bit of profit taking. But right now, you've got to be impressed with the way the market continues to hold up.
I think that's impressive is definitely a great word. You and I talked about this last week, and we were like, hey, maybe there's going to be some follow through off that push higher off those bottoms a couple Mondays ago, and it seems like it's not slowing down. 8 straight days of the upside set. I think it was the longest move in the last year and a half, extended move, both on the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. Look, we talked a little bit about MSOS today, and of course, that's the marijuana ETF. I noted that you tweeted something out about SMG, which I know it's Scott's Miracle-Gro. I kind of relate that also to some of the marijuana stocks, because I remember back in the day when they were talking about legalization again and people growing at home, a lot of people flocked to SMG. You want to go over that chart? What are you thinking about Scott's Miracle-Gro?
Yeah, Scott's, I think you're right. That's the way I kind of view it, as a picks and shovel for the weed industry. And the weed stocks have been just terrible over the years. This one had a good run in 2019, 2020, but then like the weed stocks, it fell apart. The good news here on this weekly time frame is that we're back above the 50, 100, 200-day moving average. And we came up close to the anchor from the all-time high here. But with all these moving averages rising, and then we look at the daily time frame, we're holding this 20-day moving average. We're consolidating after a jump higher. It just looks like it's getting ready to go. In fact, I think for tomorrow, if it gets above 72.75, that you could purchase this stock with a stop. Where do I have my, let me look at my notes. Where is it? Oh, 71.05. So that's just below the low of the last couple days.
Okay, yeah, good little look there. I also want to talk to you about another name that you brought to our attention, and we had a good fun on the show. We asked about what our favorite soups were. And I think we went chicken noodle. I think we went tomato. We got a little bit of vegetable soup in there as well. Well, congratulations, Brian, because it looks like, again, I mean, could you manage my money for me if you get a second? Campbell's Soup continues to make a move higher. CPB. So any opinions on that? Wasn't this a name that you were looking short or long? Maybe it's the wrong way that I have.
No,
Right?
it was a long trade, but I had gotten out about a week or so ago. In fact,
Okay.
Sean, I held this stock for about 3 weeks, and it was boring me to tears because it really barely moved. I mean, it was a decent trade, from 47 and change up to 48 and a half or so. I got stopped out of the balance right here as it made a lower low. These arrows where it was raising my stop. So I got taken out right before the continuation higher, but I'm perfectly happy with that one. The one that continues to be my biggest money maker this year and continues to add to it is this TGTX. It had a huge day yesterday, and I think the shorts are finally starting to realize that they're positioned wrong in here.
You've definitely been talking about TGTX for a minute on our show, but great call on Campbell's Soup regardless. And I think that you and I talk about this all the time, and I actually was talking with a trader during lunch about this, and it was being a risk manager. I mean, we can put on any trades we want. You don't have an out, then what are you even doing? The only thing I wish I didn't have an out on was Google. Did you hear that stat? They IPO'd 20 years ago. You know how much they're up if you held? Maybe you heard this. 7,700% in 20 years. So sometimes you can close your eyes, push buy, wake up, and find yourself in a big winner. All right, someone's talking about pasta fajoule. That's with beans, man. All right, so we'll keep going higher on that one. All right, let's keep going about these markets. So again, Toll Brothers coming out, some good earnings plays as of recently. Can I just get your opinion on PanW quickly? Me and you talked a little bit about CrowdStrike and trying to catch some of the falling swords and knives that are in this market. But here we have PanW. You can flip over here, Ramin, and show my screen and give Brian a second here. But if you go over to a weekly chart, I mean, how good does this look? This is the 50-period moving average. We bounced again just now, a couple weeks ago, obviously, and now we're trying to take out some of those highs. Yeah, what are we doing with PanW here? I think let the runners run right now. So PanW, best of breed. Any opinions here on Palo Alto Networks?
If you got his phone number, call Paul Pelosi. He's the guy who nailed this one. He's the guy who bought his calls, his leaps right down here on that day when the stock got hit 2 quarters ago.
Right.
And it's been a volatile ride. I don't have it in me to hold a stock like that. If I bought here, I would have been out 100 times. To me, this stock doesn't really match my personality. It's a little too whippy here, so I have really kind of strayed from it. I've looked for opportunities where I thought there might be a low-risk opportunity, but I just can't seem to figure this one out, so I just generally avoid it. But I think you're right. It's in an uptrend. Let it run, know your stops, and give it a little bit of extra room just due to the personality of the stock.
So you and I were, actually that's a good point. I actually want to talk to you a little bit about trading personalities. You and I just had fun with Intel last week. And I brought that to your attention. And the next thing I knew, you dropped a 30-year anchored VWAP on the stock. Well, you know what? And I had sort of said this on our show as well. I thought Intel was primed for a move higher. It just, technically, it got beat up, obviously. Felt like there was a potential whoosh down day. RSI, Brian, I mean, you've probably seen these before, but you were down to like 10 on the RSI. For such a major name, I mean, there had to have been some bounce back, I feel like, at some point, and it looks like we're getting that right now. Great nail on the 30-year anchored VWAP there. But all kidding aside, I don't know if there's much legs left in Intel. Is there anything that you see here, maybe on Intel or any of the semis? We can start with Intel.
Yeah, for Intel, actually, my math was bad, Sean. If you take 2024 and go back to 1984, that's a 40-year VWAP, not 30. Someone pointed it out to me. I was like, oh, yeah, hey, look at that. Anyways, you know what I ended up doing, Sean, is you talked me into it. I bought some of the January 2250 calls. And right now they're up 28%. And yesterday I kind of felt like selling them, thinking, well, why did I buy these Januaries if I feel like selling them already? So I'm going to give it a little bit of room, but it's a broken stock. I will likely not hold it. I definitely won't hold it till January. I don't know why I bought so much time. The semiconductors, let's actually go to the index, the SMA.
Sure, perfect.
Because we're at an important level here, potentially. We came up today to the 50-day moving average. That's this blue line on the daily chart on the left. And this is also the 61.8% retracement of this high down to this low. So you can see that's exactly 61.8% right here. We're still in an uptrend. We're still above the rising 5-day moving average. We're above the anchor from the high. We're above the 20-day moving average. So maybe we're ready to digest a little bit, maybe a little shakeout, and then I'd love to see the market recover and then continue out to new highs for the year. But again, the key theme for this market is the resilience and the strength and the lack of any type of pullback after that washout.
Yeah, good call on that. I was thinking the same kind of thing here as we get into Nvidia earnings, of course, next Wednesday, the 28th. We will figure that out. I'm going to pass you to Darren in just 1 second. One more question that I had here for you was Salesforce. So I dropped some anchors, and you may or not be proud of this moment, but I was dropping one down here, and we've seen that wasn't too much use. Well, actually, for some reason, it came all the way up. What I always want to do is drop an anchor at this high for Salesforce. And you know what, Brian? We are right here right now. So we go to the high on Salesforce, drop it back in right now, bouncing its head off. We have the 200 period moving average. To me, I think this is prime for breakout. We don't necessarily want to be involved too much ahead of earnings. They also report next Wednesday for CRM. Some of these data names have really been getting killed, but it looks like for me, Salesforce looks to be pretty healthy, looks to be trying to break out. We've bounced off the 50 period, trying to take the 200. Is this a crazy idea? Maybe there's an option play here, something on Salesforce. What do you think heading into earnings?
Here's what I see, Sean, is one, the year-to-date anchor. If you take that from the beginning of the year, look at how the stock has been defended early on as support and then as resistance. And here we are right up against it at this point now, along with that 200-day moving average. So I got to ask myself two questions. Where does it come from? It just came from 233 up to 265, so 30 points, about 15%. It's come up 15% uninterrupted without a pullback. Where does it have the potential to go before it's likely to encounter supply? Well, we've got this prior support in here, which has been resistance. It's the year-to-date anchor. So as far as does the risk-reward make sense right here, right now? I don't think so. But if it were to pull back a little bit, and maybe even test the anchor from the recent low, the washout low, then I think you would maybe want to look to be a buyer on the way back up over there for an eventual push through this to break, to slingshot higher, make a higher low, and then break higher would be the more likely scenario, I think, rather than just a straight breakout from here.
Thanks for being here with us, Brian, today. I know either last week or the week before, you mentioned two names that you were looking at with uptrends with support, AVTR and TMO. Do you have updates in either of those or any other names you're looking at right now?
I have a 1/3 left position in AVTR and a 2/3 position in TMO. So I got involved in AVTR at 24.80. And the thing is, it's having a little bit of trouble with the anchor from this peak right here. So I've taken a third off on strength, and then I got stopped out of a third after a higher low was broken. I am hoping that maybe it can continue to move higher, but I suspect we're going to get a little bit of a shakeout there. TMO, however, is the one I like a little bit better. This one was a purchase at 606.75. I'm out of 1/3, and my two stops right now for the swing trade, just updated those right now at the close, are 608.30 below today's low, and then at 603.90 on the balance. I'm giving that final third a little bit more extra room.
Brian, you mentioned
they're moving.
Yeah, no, those are some great trades. You got to pick the names that are moving. We had some questions in the chat, and you said something that's very important to me because, especially as a trader, I like to look at very similar names every day, and I feel like I found a personality of the stocks that I like to trade. And you mentioned that there. You said Campbell's Soup was a little too boring, and then Pan W right now maybe a little too volatile. So I'm going to ask you, Brian, what is your personality when it comes to stocks? What if you could say, hey, this is a stock that I like? What are some of the characteristics that maybe you'd have to see in a name to get interested and start charting it? Or where would you classify yourself in sort of that realm of this is the kind of stock or trader that I am?
Yeah, great question. So for me, I don't like the ones that are really volatile. In fact, just looking at this 30-minute chart of TMO, this is not typical for me because of these big moves. I'll look at these stocks and kind of just look at the big moves and notice in particular, how do they act on the open? So, when we see a stock with these big, first 15, 20, 30-minute bars that are huge ranges, and then they often, don't hold those gains, it tells me for a stock like that, I've got to slow down getting involved in the first 30 minutes, especially. A stock like Campbell's Soup was just one that was working when the rest of the market was getting hit. If we have a healthy market and I have the choice between TMO and CPB, I'm definitely going to, trade TMO or even, other names like CPNG, which didn't really behave as well today, but I've got a small position in there as well. But TGTX has just been a really good trader for me. I seem to have figured out the personality of this stock. I like the story. And it's going to be different for everyone. Obviously, you like those, big cap stocks on the 1 minute charts, and I think it's important for everyone to kind of recognize that it's the personality of yourself and the stock that makes for the best trade candidates.
I mean, we could probably talk about this forever, and I feel like this is a podcast question for sure, but I'm going to give you 1 minute to answer it. How long do you think, and you might know this right off the bat, and it's probably in one of your books, how long did it take you to actually find that personality in stocks? Because we always hear that traders blowing up accounts. It took me a while to figure this stuff out. How much patience did you have to have early? Did you have any before you found any of this? Was it years? Was it months? Was it a matter of days? How long did it take you to basically become the trader that, and we're traders, change every day, but to become the confidence that you kind of have now, how long did it take you to sort of develop that?
First thing was, I started in the business as a retail stockbroker, and that kind of I like to joke around and say, I got to practice with other people's money, which is really kind of true. It was within the confines of a brokerage where they, steered you in certain directions, but I got to see what was working and what wasn't working. I started to look at charts and got an idea of, hey, just because it's the stock that they're promoting doesn't mean we should be buying it because it's in a downtrend. I just lost money for my customers. And it would be, well, now this customer doesn't trust me anymore. So I would steer away from those. So that kind of molded me. But nothing does it like going in there and getting your gas kicked by the market. And as you said, we're still evolving. We're still developing our strategies. And the market's personality changes. We have to be aware of when we're in a free fall, like we were 3 weeks ago, 2.5, 3 weeks ago. Right. You've got to lay off the gas and control yourself more than anything. We all want to get in there and make money every single day, but it's just not there for a certain style that we might have every day. I think a day trader has a lot more flexibility because you don't have to make market calls. It's just about the action there in front of you, and that's the purest form of trading there is.
Yeah, I like that. Great answer to that question there, Brian. And if anybody has any other questions about Anchored VWAP, they can find it right here with maximum trading gains with Anchored VWAP. You go find it on Amazon. We got to let you go. I was at an event earlier this last week with JC, and JC Peretz, again, another great guy coming through. I believe you're friends with JC.
He texted me a picture, Sean, of look what I saw on the trading desk, and it's that book right there.
There you go. So. All right, what a great community right there. JC was in town. A lot of great insights, similar to Mr. Brian Shannon. So, hey, I got a Little League game to coach, but we're going to join you next week right here again. Brian, I wish you the best of luck on all of those trades, and thank you for those ideas. It's our friend Brian Shannon. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Trader Talk, wrap it. I mean, yeah, you ask anything.
Those are some great questions.
I mean, how dare we confuse that 30-year Anchored VWAP with the 40-year? I mean, that's,
very different.
If you're looking at Anchored VWAPs, you definitely should be looking in and around those 40 years. Thank you so much for that one, Brian. And again, just talking about personality of stocks, I thought that was something that was very important that he mentioned that. if you're in a name and it's either getting boring or you just kind of lost interest in it, that might be a good indication to get out.
Yeah, it's not
Seriously,
for you.
it's
Yeah,
like I
that's
talked
what
about that with Nvidia today, and then I just go on, put on another losing trade. It's like you gotta be focused on the stock, understand, have that conviction. So I want to thank Brian Shannon. I want to thank everybody else with roll call. All right, here we go. 2,300 watching. So I want to thank everybody for staying late with us. We're a little bit over time. I promised Ramin that we get out of here at 4:30, so I owe her 4 minutes. All right, let's go. Rich Naples says thank you to Brian, and thank you to myself, and thank you to Adara. Ray says the same thing. How about Snowflake? Yeah, we'll talk about Snowflake. How about Toll Brothers, actually? Hold on a second. TOL.
They beat.
So here's Toll
It's
Brothers,
pretty
just
boring
real
before.
quick right now on Toll Brothers. We'll flip it over into a 1 minute chart just so we get that look. Then we'll go right back in. Toll Brothers a beat and a snooze fest right now. Toll Brothers up about $2. So we'll have a look at that maybe tomorrow. But thank you for Toll Brothers coming out. Not that eventful. Bears versus Bulls. We can't do it without him. Saad was here on the main show. I know we talked about that as well. Trader Buck, you are welcome. LUV loves Southwest. He loves us as well. Thank you, Kyle Burdett. Michelle Meir, thank you, says thanks, Brian. Thank you, Brian, again from all of us here as well. Chef Joe, one of the original ones. Hey, man, we still got to have those ribeyes, man. We still got to have those ribeyes one day. Let's go. Le Trade says, go, Sean. Sean is the GOAT from Logan. Thank you so much, Logan. Means a lot to me. Rivian Millionaire. He likes it when Toll beats. Yeah, well, I mean, that's a good one. We like housing. Housing starts, hopefully gets picked up as well. Raul Joshua. Joshua's here. Thank you, Joshua Lee Mallory, or Mallory there. Thank you so much for coming through. Juan Silverado, Bright Awakening, Ron Miller, and everybody else. My water's at 5 p.m., but I'm trying to get done this because I don't want to bring it with me.
Yeah, that's
So we
a
still
lot
have
of water.
a little bit of water left there. We're at that 5 p.m., but it says never say never. Shout out to who?
I will never say never. Justin Bieber featuring Jaden Smith, circa 2010.
I could go without the Jaden Smith part, but shout out
That's
to
factually-
Justin
okay.
Bieber. Yes, of course, correct.
Factual.
You know,
But I
He's
understand.
had some
I
DJ Khaled. Yeah, okay. Let's go. Thank you for watching one more time. That's Adara. I'm Sean. We're back at 8:30. Thank you to our guest, Brian Shannon. Go pick up his book about anchored VWAPs. Pick it up today, not tomorrow. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Ciao.
See you. Bye.